Party President, Business Secretary, members of Parliament, and everyone here, we welcome to today's event. We are going to start with the anthem, and then we'll have a prayer from our religious leader here, and then we'll start the event. As for the anthem, the DJ. Thank you so much. So let's have the anthem, the prayer, and then we'll share with you what we have for you today. Let's have the anthem. Thank you so much. Let's have a word of prayer before we start.
Alright. Yes, you guys will be. Nianze na mkishakuba bado na kuwali suru kubanga batwala misaya for na kuwali. Ai katendo wechisa kuwa Uganda ne bana Uganda. Twebaza kitango omulungi. Olw'obukuumi bw'otutaddeko era gye tutambulidde mu laale zaffe kitange era ne tukwebaza olw'obulamu bw'otuwadde tukwebaza olw'olunaku olwaleero kitange kubanga ffenna tukuŋŋaanidde wamu okulaba nga tutuusa eddoboozi lyaffe eddoboozi liririmu lyakusaba nkyukakyuka mu ggwanga lyaffe kubanga ekituufu ayi Katonda tukusabye ebbanga ddene tukwegayiridde twogedde ebigambo bingi tulaajanye naye nga tewaliiwo kikyuka tukusaba omulundi guno kitange otukulembere era ng'otukulembeza omwana wo gwe watuwa Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu bbanga yatulaga ekitangaala kitange tukwebaza era nga twewaddeyo n'obubalirivu bwonna ate tudde ekintu kyonna kitange kubanga wagamba teri kyakulwanyisa kiweeseddwa ku bulamu bwaffe kijja tutuusa mu kabi konna kitange omulungi olunaku olwaleero tuluwonze maaso go saba kitange omulungi otukulembere otuwe ekisa era otutambuze bulungi makubo gonna era nga tuddeyo kitange ne mulaale zaffe eziddako kitange saba kitange Katonda bwange tuwongayo ennaku zonna mu maaso go kitange tuziwenga n'omusango kitange otukulembere paka nga tutuuse mu nsi ensuubizi. Haleluya.
Thank you so much. My name is Mkwezi Joshua Lowell, and I will be your MC today. I request each of us to take our seat. Thank you. So I know many of you are wondering what are we doing here, given that we already launched our party manifesto. What we are going to be doing here is to unpack it for you. We have a panel of presenters that just here before you. Our manifesto, as you already know, has 11 priority areas. The people who are just before us, each of them is going to stand before you and help us unpack it so that all of us can understand. And we're not just doing this because we ought to do it, we are doing it because our people, especially in the new Uganda, need to know what awaits them. But before I start inviting the people to present for us, I just wanted to say something small so that we can understand the reason why we are doing this. I think since independence, but most relevantly since 1986, there has not been a government which truly works for the people. And I think the problem with that is that our young people, even the old people, can no longer imagine that it is possible to live in a country that works for them. We lack, people don't have a sense of imagination. They don't believe, they don't hope. But one thing our president has been doing across the campaign trail has been asking each of us to imagine what the new Uganda would look like. A country that has talent, that is endowed with natural resources, and yet the realities of their life don't speak to that. So while you listen to the panelists here, we'll just ask you to borrow some bit of hope. Imagine this Uganda we are going to have after the next election, which indeed we are going to have. What is it? What does it look like? Unfortunately, the government we've been having has failed fundamentally. And you know that because you hear because our people don't believe that it's possible for a government to work with them. You hear people say, government but I want you to believe that it is possible for a government to work for you and not work against you. And I'll just say this just to not waste a lot of time. I think it was President Obama in 2004 who said that citizens don't expect the government to do everything for them. Our people are hardworking, they are talented, they are paying their taxes. All they need from us is a government that can just create an environment which enables them to realize their full potential, which can utilize their taxes to work for them. And so here the manifesto we are unpacking for you is not that all your problems are going to be solved per se, or that we are going to give you everything that you want. But we can at least guarantee that our government will create an enabling environment, which means that a talented young man from Kambocha can rise to be the next icon on the African continent, all the world. Yes. That it is possible to leave your university and have a job that gives you dignity. Not because it's the only thing you can settle for. So thank you so much. We ask you to please broaden and allow yourself to imagine what is going to happen after 2026. So this is how it's going to flow. Each priority area will have 5 minutes, and we encourage each of us to keep our questions. We shall ask the questions at the end of the general presentations. So we will have the presentation in how they are ordered within the manifesto. What that looks like is that number 1 on the priority list is going to be what is presented first. So the first priority point we have in our manifesto is on freedom and constitutionalism. And it is going to be presented by our party General Secretary, Honorable David. Mr. General Secretary, allow me to invite you to take us through the first priority point. Let's welcome you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, comrade leaders present today. We are here to unpack the NUP Manifesto, and I'm here to talk about our Manifesto Priority 1, which is about restoring constitutionalism, human rights, and the rule of law. First of all, what is the problem in Uganda? The problem in Uganda today is governance. Uganda does not have any other problem except governance. All problems that we have in Uganda today can be summarized in one word: the failure of governance. Uganda ranks 126th out of 142 countries on the rule of law index. So you can imagine Uganda beats just very, very few countries in the world in terms of respect for the rule of law and human rights. That is terrible. In Uganda, media rights are not respected. Journalists and media practitioners are regularly harassed. There are forced disappearances in Uganda. Up to now, we are looking for 18 people who were abducted by the Museveni regime in the last election. Yesterday, the president delegated me to attend a briefing ceremony for one of the children of Damwila John, who was disappeared in 2020, and up to now, he has never surfaced. And as you know, our Kenyan brothers, two of them, were picked on the campaign trail on the 1st of October. Up to now, nobody knows where they are. Sam Mugumia, who was abducted from Marara, is still missing, and many other people. What is the other problem? Due process and legal environment. Many people can tell you in Uganda that if you're poor, you're not going to get justice in the courts of law. If you go to courts of law and you don't have money, you are sure that the person who has money is going to beat you at your case, no matter how good case you have. That is why people say, Omwavu, tasinga musango. Electoral integrity. But in Uganda today, many citizens out there will tell you everywhere we go, because there is no electoral integrity. People go and vote. You saw what happened in Kayunga, where the regime just took over and declared whatever they wanted. The other problem related to governance is, of course, corruption. The breakdown of constitutional order. In the 1995 Constitution, it provides that the Constitution will be durable. Unfortunately, every time the Constitution has stood in Mr. Museveni's path, he just kicks it down the road, uses the military, usurps Parliament, bribes Parliament, and takes over the functions and amends the Constitution illegally, and the Parliament, of course, and the judiciary have been weakened very, very strongly. And there's a deliberate attack on the civil society. You all recall that a few years ago, over 5,000 NGOs which were dealing with governance issues were closed down by the Museveni regime. I can go on and on and on talking about the problems, but before telling you what NUP is going to do, I wanted us to get to know the problem. Now, what is NUP promising? Number one, to restore term limits in our constitution. NUP will not only restore term limits, but it will entrench them. And any president who will attempt to remove term limits will be charged with treason. It will be a treasonable offense to try to remove the mandatory term limits from the Constitution of Uganda under the National Unity Platform. Number two, in accordance with the Supreme Court decision, NUP is going to remove that UPDF amendment which took civilians back to military courts. Civilians will not be tried in military courts whatsoever. Number three, like the president said on the train, the first action he will take once elected president of Uganda is to free all political prisoners. Now, you people who are watching us are the reason why those prisoners will be in prison after the election day. Because if you vote for NUP, all political prisoners, beginning with Dr. Chiza Besigye, Machete, Eddie Mutwe, Achideo, Gaddafi, and the Karamajong, who have been taken to those prisons and are not being tried for no crime whatsoever, will be freed immediately. Meaning that a vote for NUP is a vote to free all political prisoners. The media who are here today under NUP, no security forces, no police officer will interfere with the work of journalists in the new Uganda. Journalists will be free to do their role without fearing what will happen when they go back home. Under NUP, the president will not appoint the Electoral Commission. The powers to appoint the Electoral Commission will be taken out from the president. First of all, we are going to bring about separation of powers. Parliament will be independent, the judiciary will be independent. And therefore there will be organs. There will be a committee, a separate committee, dealing with this, and the final approval coming from Parliament. So, the powers to appoint the Electoral Commission, because we all know that that is one of the biggest problems we have today, where one of the candidates is the one who is appointing the Electoral Commission. That will not only go to the Electoral Commission, but also the appointment of judicial officers, including the Chief Justice, and the Deputy Chief Justice and all other judicial officers. That power will move out from the President. As you all know right now in Uganda, all judges from the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, Constitutional Court, and the High Court, all of them have been appointed by one man called General Museveni. That is why many of them feel emboldened to him. That is why many of them feel indebted to him to do what is against the Constitution and what is against the judicial oath. But we believe that if the President is not the one appointing judicial officers, then judicial officers are going to do their function independently and serve the citizens of Uganda. In the new Uganda, there will be no internet shutdowns. Facebook will be restored. You will not need to be on VPN to access Facebook. UCC will no longer have powers to switch on the internet when they feel like. That one will not happen in the new Uganda. The civil society, NGOs and others will be allowed to function. We are going to have merit-based appointments. In the new Uganda, it will not depend on where you come from, what is the size of your nose, how old you are, where you come from, to get a job. In the new Uganda, you will get a job based on merit. You will get a job across the board. So that is how we plan to restore constitutionalism and the rule of law. We are going to remove all oppressive laws from the law books that we have, and very, very finally, we are going to have lifestyle audits as part of our fight against corruption. If you are serving the government, you must tell us where the money you're using is coming from, because we want to make sure that the money of the citizens is used to fight for the rights of the people and not for personal aggrandizement.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much once again, Mr. SG. I think that's a very clear plan about how we are going to undo the shrinking space that we enjoy as a country. I just want to let you know that it is possible to access this manifesto on the party official social media platforms, on the party website. Please look for it and be able to read some of the things that may not be captured in this short presentations. Having said that, allow me to welcome the leader of opposition, our party spokesperson, to present the second priority area, which is on ending corruption and wasteful expenditure.
Thank you. This reminds me of our school debating days, where we're given 5 minutes to hammer the poet. I'll attempt to do that. Our manifesto priority area number 2 is ending corruption and wasteful government expenditure. One of the biggest quandaries we have in our country. Let me paint a picture for you quickly. Our national debt currently is 116 trillion shillings. That's how much you and I owe. That means every Ugandan, including the baby that was born this morning, owes 2.5 million shillings. Every single Ugandan, including those who have never seen that kind of money. That's how bad it is. Go and disburse loans, money that is borrowed, and it sits on accounts unutilized for a very long period, and yet we have got to pay interest on that. That has got to end. We want to plan for our country efficaciously, and it's possible for us to be able to do that. As you know, some of the borrowed money is stolen. We have a debt rollover which we accumulate annually. That's money that we borrow and we are unable to pay. Domestic arrears. There's something called domestic arrears when government, ordinary people do business with government and government doesn't pay. That figure is 14 trillion shillings. People who supply food to government, ministries, departments, and so on, who do construction work, ordinary Ugandan people, 14 trillion shillings. These people borrow money from the bank so that they can do this government job, and government doesn't pay. So businesses are crumbling, local businesses. Meanwhile, we have foreign investors who come here. They are guaranteed land, they are given free land, tax holidays, they are guaranteed money. Pineti, I don't know, whoever, Rocco was given 200 plus billion shillings. Achak Sugar Factory, 600 billion shillings. They by a farmer. These guys who promised to put together a COVID vaccine, 723 billion shillings. That nonsense is going to stop under our leadership. So that we focus on the ordinary Ugandan. There's no reason why our roads cannot be built by these young engineers who graduate. It's something that we should be able to do, but you bring foreigners here, they consume all the money, including the freebies that we give them. Look, we have got a lot of poor planning that happens, something that we want to eliminate. Every year, we have several schedules of supplementary budgets, up to about 5 trillion shillings. Now, supplementary is supposed to be a rigwabitalazi. And so on, and then government comes to parliament and says, we didn't plan for this. Let's avail money. But here is a surprising thing. State House, Office of the President, which uses, by the way, over 2 billion shillings per day. Their annual budget is exhausted in the first quarter, in 3 months. That's a reality, always. In the first 3 months, their entire 12 months budget is exhausted. Then they come back to Parliament for supplementary budget. That nonsense has got to stop. And we intend to stop it. We have extensively talked about corruption. We know that on an annual basis, we lose 10 trillion shillings per year. Theft. Those are hospitals, those are schools, those are roads that are stolen on an annual basis. Our government intends to make it risky for anyone to steal taxpayers' money. I know there are people who have said, and I know folks in the Inspectorate of Government, they say our challenge is our people are not morally upright. That's why there's a lot of stealing that happens. Man is inherently evil. Look, governments elsewhere, countries elsewhere where there's not as much corruption, it's not because their people are morally upright and good. No, government has made it risky to steal. You steal taxpayers' money, we'll lock you up. So that others speak a lesson and know you cannot touch taxpayers' money. So we don't want to always talk about corruption like these folks. You will see action. Finally, we intend to eliminate taxes on essential items like menstrual products, scholastic materials, and school data bundle. We were debating this issue sometime in Parliament, and there was a young lady, I now hear she's going to run for woman MP. She's the current youth MP, Uganda. Now I hear she wants to represent the people of Luweero as woman MP. She said, no, let's not reduce taxes on Pampers, because when we reduce taxes on Pampers, we shall be promoting homosexuality. I said, did this one even go to school? How do you reason that? Anyway, for us, we want to practically do that, so that it is accessible by our ordinary people, by the poor people whom we must be able to bolster. Here is a catch. We want to introduce a payee tax threshold of 1 million shillings. That means, for those of you that are employed in the formal sector, because currently, for as long as you earn anything above 249,000, you are in the tax bracket, you must pay tax. Once we are saying no, anyone who earns below 1 million shillings, we are not going to tax that money, that is your money. So the tax threshold is going to be 1 million shillings. Anything below 1 million shillings, that is your money, use it to better yourself as an individual. That works a lot better than, we have been seeing all these programs, throw money at people, TDM, New York, Youth Livelihood. And yes, we want to bolster our people, and you'll be seeing many of those programs where we can bolster the ordinary people as opposed to foreigners. This money we are throwing at these foreign investors, no, we want to put it in the local people's businesses. But we begin that by lessening the tax burden on our ordinary folks. That's something that we want to do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our party spokesperson. Now, this country seems to have a lot of divisions. We've had governments which pity us against each other, people from regions versus the other regions. But we are one people, we are Uganda, and that's why in our third priority point, we talk about national unity. We have a deliberate plan to make sure all of us live in this country united. I will invite Mr. Fred and Mr. George to talk about national unity, which is part and parcel of our party, but also part of our manifesto. Thank you.
Thank you so much, the President and everybody gathered here today. My name is George Mokoit. I am one of those presenting priority number 3 that states that we as a country must focus on consolidating our national unity. We come from a country that has a history of war. If you're very much aware, every part of this country, including Central, had at least 1 or 3 rebel groups. While all these rebel groups existed, they did not fight an individual. They were all fighting for leadership for everybody in this country. We have consumed fabricated history and distorted lies in a way that they tell us it is NRA that brought peace to the country. It is a lie. There were more than NRA groups that were fighting for peace. They simply lied the other warring parties to come together and drop their guns, gave their leaders offices like General Ali and others. Even us in Teso, we have them. They gave them positions so that they can tell their followers to stop. After they stopped, they were never compensated, they were never empowered, they were ravished in poverty. And that was done so that they can consolidate power in one person who we all know. And they told us, they gave us peace. They simply silenced guns. Other regions, I want to give an example of Teso. Teso, with the war that we went through, we lost our backbone economy, which was the cattle economy. We expected that when a government that is concerned of its own people takes over, the first thing they were supposed to do is to make sure that we, the people of Teso, are sat down and given an opportunity to forgive one another, reflect on their future, and concert their effort in developing the area while government is supporting them. As the National Unity Platform, this is our commitment and promise. We cannot arrive at a consolidated country peacefully without truth-telling. So as a government, we commit to establish a truth, reconciliation, and a justice desk. And here we are demanding that as a country, can we come together? If you know you are responsible for having committed an atrocity, come forth and tell us what happened, not the lies. Ugandans value forgiveness. Ugandans value unity. We assume that somebody cannot forgive you unless you start by telling the truth. So we are saying as a government, first and foremost, we want to put this in place so that we track all the sources and the causes of why we went into war and therefore forge a way forward. Number 2, as a government, we are saying, can we put in place at least a rehabilitation program? One beginning with psychotherapy rehabilitation. Because we cannot be able to think straight when all of us are suffering from post-trauma disorder syndrome. The syndrome is caused by direct face of traumatic events like war, That is the reason as to why they will never arrest an NUP member peacefully. They want to beat them up, bring the torture on so that you can see, so that psychologically you suffer PTDS altogether. They want to make sure, because PST is transferable through your gene. For us in there, so people fear to face government because our parents transfer the gene of fear and trauma to us genetically. So we are saying as a government, we are putting in place a program to see how best we can de-escalate trauma in the mind of our people. I thank you. I give Joe the chance.
Mr. Coit, we really come from war-torn areas because the energy you put on the mic, you just know these are people from war-torn areas. Because you have been crying for long, now you have the energy. I hope I'm not going to be also another one. Dear President and comrades present, my name is Kyagulanyi, aspiring for MP for Kidum Municipality. When I was contacted to come and present on how reparations on war-torn areas have been done in the new government, I asked myself, how am I going to dress? Should I dress like a person coming from a war-ravaged area? Or should I dress like a person of a new Uganda? And I decided to dress like a person of a new Uganda. Because in the new Uganda, you don't need to look like your problem. In a new Uganda, no one should look at you and say, look at that bakoko. I learned this vocabulary because of teaching in Kampala for 6 years. Comrades, when I was coming, our bus stopped on the way and a group of people putting on round hats and holding sticks entered the bus. If you were supposed to be there and listen to the whispers of people in the bus saying, they are there, they are passing. Yes, those are the Balalos who came to steal our land. Those are the ones. I looked at myself. Really? In a new Uganda? We still look at somebody's dressing and we believe we can judge them because of the way we look? This is going to change in a new Uganda because of the promises that I'm going to enumerate now. 1, we are going to end sectarianism and tribalism completely in Uganda. We are going to make sure that you are judged by the level of your brain, your competence. This issue of technical no, who should stop, but we should go back to technical no, how? You still remember that in your primary. Technical no, how? We used to cram that. But these days it has changed. You need to know a certain language. No wonder a certain general called MK said he's going to teach our comrades a certain language that I don't even want to mention, because he is just weaponizing innocent people who have nothing to do with their government. That is a family rule. To conclude, I want to say we are going to have equal pay for equal work. Teachers are striking. I want to tell you, in Central here, you are lucky. From Monday to Friday, you get children still going to school. Why? Because their parents can pay school fees. From my village, children have not seen teachers for close to 25 days now. And teachers, the leaders of these teachers are moving around saying we are talking with government. Talking with government? Up to when? Elections are coming. Why don't they use this time for election to pay them if possible? So I'm sending a one to fellow teachers in Uganda. If there has never been a time you want to vote Museveni out, this is the time, because you have not been paid. Let me talk about national unity. We are going to organize national unity festivals and social cohesion functions, where if we are going to dance at the headquarters here, we are going to see Imbalo, we are going to see Laraka Raka, we are going to see Baksimba, we are going to see Otole, we are going to see Ajosi from Peso, we are going to bring the Karagodons to jump here, we are going to have all kinds of dance, because it is called national Thank you so much. To conclude, we are going to empower the existing cultural traditional institutions. Comrades, you realize what happened to the king of Renzururu, King Wesley Mumbere, who was punished by the government for close to 6 years. He never stepped on his soil because he was telling the truth. In the new Uganda, traditional institutions are going to have their autonomy. Traditional institutions are going to be empowered, and this will work throughout the country. They are not going to be used simply to support the government in power, but to tell the truth to power. Thank you so much, comrades. Afoy matek luamna choli lango karmojong ke West Nile. Machalo National Unity Platform NUP. Watika wajoni gamete manyen pa party enini. Obenero ni apoga matie Uganda makanga manyang kole kinami umebo. Ka choli kinami chol. Ka karmojong kinami komechol beberu pe Uganda. Igamente manyen pa National Unity Platform. Wabenero ni lufonye kichulugi mabe. Wego fonye tima. In Baganda we say Abana Basome, right? Children are going to go to school. Thank you so much. I continue go on. Thank you so much. Hey, my transfer has started coming to go back to Kigum.
Thank you so much. When you go back, tell them we love them so much too. That said, before we have the next priority area discussed, our alumni from the School of Leadership are preparing a skit for us. So after the next presentation, let's prepare our minds to welcome them to present their skit. Having said that, I think the discussion around teachers not teaching and poor quality education takes us to our next priority area, which is access to quality public services. And the emphasis there is quality. So I will welcome Dr. Judith Nalukwago and our very own Dr. Numbers and doctors to come and present on quality public services. Thank you.
People power. Our power. People power. NUP. Everywhere. And everywhere. NUP. Even here. NUP. Even New Uganda. NUP. Mr. President, the Secretary General, the Leader of Opposition, all leaders present, and the general public of Uganda, good afternoon to you all. My name is Dr. Sharon Nambasa, and I'll be presenting with Dr. Judith Nalukwago on priority number 4. And for priority number 4, we are saying that as the National Unity Platform, one of the things that we are going to put emphasis on is access to quality public services. When we talk about public services, we are talking health, we are talking education, we are talking clean water, we are talking transport, we are talking infrastructure. When we look at our health system at the moment, you'll find that out of all the districts in Uganda, about 82 districts lack a general public hospital. Ladies and gentlemen, we are saying that out of 2,100 plus sub-counties in this country, over 1,696 lack a health center for. If we have all those districts that do not have health centers, where are our people going to go when they fall sick? Recently we saw Chris Baryomusi fall sick in his own constituency, but there wasn't a single hospital that could attend to him. He had to send for a helicopter to come and airlift him from his constituency, from the people that he represents, to be treated in a different districts where they also have their own MP. But I ask you Ugandans, how many of you have a contact that you can call for you to get a helicopter to airlift you from wherever you are? I think out of all of us here, it could only be Mr. President, but I'm not sure. I think he also can't get a helicopter. So how many people are dying on a daily because they don't have access to good health care? When we speak about good health care, people believe that we are only speaking because we are privileged. I speak from the profession because I am one of them. I have served in those hospitals. I have been to Chirudu Dialysis Center, but I tell you that people fight for beds for them to be able to get dialysis. But I saw a photo of a certain country where a dog was getting dialysis. Our lives less important compared to the dogs that the whites own. We have seen pictures of babies at Kawempe Regional Referral Hospitals in these plastic chairs where you're seated today. Ladies and gentlemen, we lose over 100 mothers on a daily. It's sickening that as I hold this microphone, in this very minute that I'm speaking, there is a woman out there that is bleeding to death because there is no tranexamic acid, because they couldn't get oxytocin. Sorry, I'm going very far. Let me go to education, ladies and gentlemen. You see, in Uganda, over 1 million children that enroll in primary 1, only about 300,000 make it to primary 7. That is only about how many? 30%? Do you see what I'm saying? Where are these children going that are dropping out? Who is thinking about those very children? They are out there getting pregnant if they're ladies, or if it is a gentleman, he's now going into stealing. And these children are giving birth not to children, but to more poverty, because in the first reason they dropped out, it was because of poverty. Ladies and gentlemen, we find that there are districts, for example, in a park, where the gentleman with the big heart claims to get 100%, but there is no single secondary school. Are you hearing me? Am I communicating, ladies and gentlemen? As we go ahead, we find that in the education sector, a single pupil is only allocated 20,000 for school fees in an entire year, while we see the Speaker's office getting billions for donations. We see so many spending a lot of money, in different things. They're giving out, they're dashing out money, but your child is allocated only 20,000 for them to be able to study for an entire year. I don't know what for. Ladies and gentlemen, when we speak about clean water, I've been to districts where people share water sources with cows. We find that cows are even getting some clean water, but there are districts where they do not get clean water. Out of the 48 million Ugandans here, we find that about 38 million lack access to clean water and to toilets. Where are they putting their stool? Where are they defecating, ladies and gentlemen? There are those little errors that we find, Makerere, where we pass. We find there is a heat because they don't have access to clean water, and it trickles down to the health system. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Unity Platform promises to offer access to good roads. We find that out of the 1,500 plus roads that we have, I think it's 153,000 kilometers worth of road network, only about 6,338 kilometers are paved. That is only about 3.9% of the total road network in Uganda. But even out of that 3.9%, 20% is in good conditions. We have seen the roads that you use. We did the pothole exhibition. Ladies and gentlemen, you saw that we have lakes in the middle of roads. When we speak about our railway system, we don't even have a gauged railway system. That out of the entire railway system, only about 321 kilometers are operational. And from where we saw videos of our own train moving backwards, and everyone was saying, where is it going? But we know that in developed countries, trains are the quickest and easiest means of transport that they actually use. Trains can improve our road transport. Trains can be used to carry out trade from region to region, but that is not what we see in the current Uganda. Ladies and gentlemen, when we study about the history of Africa, Uganda, when we constructed Entebbe International Airport, it was the largest international airport in East Africa. And that was before Mr. Museveni took over power. He takes over power 40 years down the road, and Entebbe International Airport is the only airport that we have. Yet it was the biggest in East Africa. We now admire Kenya, we admire Tanzania, but what are they doing? I had forgotten to tell you that when Magufuli took over power, he paved over 5,000 roads in 5 years. 5,000 kilometers of roads in 5 years, and Mr. Museveni has done that in 40 years. What more evidence do you need for you to say that it is now for us to have a new and better Uganda? People power. Dr. Nalukogo Judith, nzize kubabuulira mu Luganda so that bajjajja bange ab'Emasaka wa Kigungu bategeere n'ab'Emawokota ab'Emikono muliyo wesiige mutana mulina okutegeera. Bannange Dr. Chamema annyonnyodde mu Luzungu naye katuddeko mu Luganda. Ngenda kwanguyizaako kubanga obudde butukutte. Public service mu Uganda population yaffe eri miliyoni 48 nga tugenze maaso tuprojectinze mu mwaka 2026 population ya Uganda egenda efuuke miliyoni 16 ne kwezo miliyoni 16 abasinga kwabo ebitundu 7 bagenda kubeera bakozi. Kitegeeza Uganda oba government erina okwetegekera ekiseera ekyo bwe tukyetegekera tetugenda ku developinga. China yetegekera ekiseera ekyo, Singapore yakyetegekera ndowooza mulaba gye bali. So nga ntandika mu public service tulinayo ebyobulamu, ebyenjigiriza, amaanyi g'amasannyalaze, amazzi amayonjo, tulinayo enguudo, tulinayo eggaali z'omukka, tulinayo ebisaawe by'ennyonyi. Tugamba tuliwa nga Uganda biseera bino. Mu Uganda tulinayo districts 82 ezitalina malwaliro ate nga tulina ne sub counties tezina health center 3s. Banange health center 3s watandikira obujjanjabi mu system ya health mu Uganda. Naye ebyalo oba sub counties amagombolola 1,600 tegalina health center 3s. Kamba buliyo ka story twawaddeyo batugenda nga tuva Emityana tugenda Ekyankwanzi ku campaign tour ya president. Netusanga health center 3 nensalawo okukikozesa okweyamba. Unfortunately yabadde abandoned. Tebuli basawo n'abalwadde bali awo tebalina abakolako. When nageze mu toilet okumanya zibadde abandoned. Nasanze ennyo ennumba Mr. President ennumba nezinnuma. Ennaku 3 badde siri campaign trail kubanga mbadde ngezaako okuwona. Naye ebyo bye twagala okukolako nti tewali health center 3 mu government ya His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu ejja kubeera abandoned. Nga tugenda maaso Mwami Museveni alina emmotoka ezimutambuza 600. Si 600 wabula 600. Naye mu Uganda yonna tulina ambulances 178 bonna Uganda. Lwaki gavumenti eno tesobolako? Bino bye twagala okukyusa. Nga tugendako mu bya enjigiriza. Ndi musanyufu nti nno nze nzaaliddwa basomesa era nasomera ku ssomero lya UPE so mmanyi ekiriyo ate nga bazadde bange bakolanga lesson plans nga nange ndaba kirabeka kyeva bazaala omuwala omugezi naye tugende mu maaso. Mu byenjigiriza omwana oba buli mwana mu Uganda bamuwa $2,000 buli mwaka. $2,000 buli mwaka tisobola kukola Uganda. $2,000 tekisobola kugula na kalaamu oba kugula peeni mu mwaka oba mu ttaamu egi oyo mwana nasobola okusoma. Mu gavumenti ya Kyagulanyi tugenda kwongeza funding mu UPE schools. Ekirala ekisinga obukulu bano abaana bagenda ku ssomero bambi ne bamala essaawa 8 nga tebalina kye balidde. Tetugenda kukkiriza ebyo mu gavumenti ya Kyagulanyi. Mu gavumenti ya Kyagulanyi buli mwana ajja kufuna emirimu at least emu buli lunaku basobola okonsentratinga mu kusoma kwabwe. Ekirala abasomesa beekalakaasa. Ekisooka tebamala kubanga bw'otunuulira staffing rate y'amasomero mu Uganda gali ku 34%. N'obutamala abasomesa era nze maama wange yasomesanga mu ssomero lya gavumenti naye ng'asomesa subjects 3. Lwaki omusomesa omu bamubadde ninga okusomesa subjects 3? Buli subject erina okubeera n'omusomesa. N'ekirala abasomesa tebabasasudde bulungi. Kyobola beekalakaasa mu Uganda empya tewajja kubeerawo kwekalakaasa kuba wajja kubeera ne ssente ezimala era tujja basasula bulungi. Bwe tugenda ku kyamazzi baganda bange abasinga mulwala typhoid temumanyi bino ebintu gye biva kubanga bannayuganda abasinga tebalina mazzi mayonjo kyokka nga tulina agayanja ga Nalubaale tulina Kyoga era tulina mu Uganda naye ensinga zi Saudi Arabia ezitalina nnyanja zirina amazzi amalungi ageyagaza naye wano mu Uganda tetugalina. Lwaki tubeera mu gavumenti bwetyo? Ne tugenda ku amasomero ebitundu 68 ku 100 tebirina mazzi. Amalwaliro ebitundu 44 ku 100 tebirina mazzi. Lwaki eddwaliro libeerawo nga terina mazzi? Bwe tugenda ku bya enguudo Dr. Chamemba agambye nti tulina network y'enguudo 15,000 naye kwate 15,000 kilometers nkakaaga zokka zenkole ate nga NRM yakakolako kilometers 14. Imagine emyaka 4 kitegeeza buli mwaka bakola kilomita 10. Incompetence of this government. Tetugenda jjikiriza mu government empya oba mu government nga tugenda maaso nti railway abasinga ddala bazadde baffe basingako obukulu bazadde bano batambuliranga mu gaali y'omukka naye kati nze emyaka gyange okulaba ku gaali y'omukka ninagenda bweru wa Uganda tekigenda kubeera mu gavumenti ya Kyagulanyi ebyo byonna tugenda bituusa mufune gaali y'omukka ng'osobola okubeera wano e Kampala yebanayo omupiira mu Kalima City ng'olinya high speed train etwala ddakiika 3 watuuse dda walabye omupiira wakomyewo Uganda empya ne tubasuubiza ekirala era ebiddiridde okusemba amasanyalaze n'amazzi amasanyalaze ga bbeeyi uniti y'amasanyalaze ya siringi 100 ngenda mu saluuni okunsiba enviiri okunnaaza bunaaza omuviiri omukyala wa saluuni nagamba maama amasanyalaze ga bbeeyi nange nina okuggyako sente nyingi naye nga lwaki mbeera nsiba enviiri eza sente nyingi nga lwaki gavumenti ya Kyagulanyi tejja uniti y'amasanyalaze ku siringi 10 n'ebiteeka ku siringi 5. Ekidomola ky'amazzi tugenda kukijja ku nnusu 120 tukiteeke ku nnusu 10 banayagala mugenda kunywa Uganda empya ate nga nokolekitinga amazzi n'amasanyalaze bigenda kubeera byabwerere gavumenti enigaagikolako ekisinga obukulu airport mukimanyi loopu waffe ng'akyakulira kosase yavaayo n'abalaga nti mwezo waliyo abakyala bataasoma ne baweeta emirimu abataasoma bonna tugenda bagobayo kale baasoma omutigi naye biri ebitabo byetwogerako bonna bataasoma tugenda bagobayo tuteekeye abantu abasobola okumanaginga air transport yaffe so that buli region wabeereyo airport nga munnayuganda asobola okubuuka n'avaano nga mukiri e Kenya ababaddeko e Kenya mukimanyi abantu bavuga okuva e Mombasa ne bagenda e Nairobi ate low cost byebyo twagala mu Uganda empya bannayuganda nga mmaliriza mukimanyi tubyogeddeko sente za health zigenda kwongezebwa tugenda kwongeza sente funding mu government hospitals ate n'abaana baffe bajja kulyanga emmere y'obwerere buli lunaku neyanzisa nnyo people power our power.
Thank you so much, Dr. Judith. In conclusion, here's what the new Uganda promises. With the National Unity Platform, we are saying that our health centers are going to be increased. We are going to increase funding in the healthcare system to about 25% or even more, considering what was promised in the Abuja Declaration that said if the health system must improve, at least 16% of the national budget must be dedicated to the health system. We are going to recruit doctors 16 times more than what we have at present. And we are saying that every health center 3 must have a doctor. And we are going to triple other healthcare workers in the new Uganda. In the new Uganda, the funding for the education sector is going to be increased. We are saying, why should our teachers be struggling? Yet we have a lot of money. We have over 10 trillion that is falling to corruption every year, but our teachers do not have enough salary. We are saying that connection to the national grid for electricity is going to be free of charge. Ladies and gentlemen, you do not have to buy electricity poles anymore. You do not have to pay for the wires to have electricity in your homes. We are going to remove value-added tax on electricity bills. We are going to make sure that businesses and domestic users of electricity, where SMEs fall, do not have to pay VAT. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to make sure that every village has 10 water sources, clean water sources, and all town councils and municipal councils must construct toilets that will be accessed for free, ladies and gentlemen. I feel so bad when I go to Kampala and I have to look for a toilet and I pay yet it is even dirty, but they are going to be free of charge in the new Uganda. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have a railway that connects all the 4 regions in Uganda. Why should it take you 8 hours, 12 hours to come from here to Yumbe, yet you can use a train and get there in 4 hours? Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to make sure that we have regional, international airports. These entire airports that you see, we are going to put down and we lift very new, good-looking international airport. And there is no reason why you'll have to come from Ntungamo to Entebbe to board a plane to Rwanda. Do you understand? That is what we are saying. We are saying that in the new Uganda, you will not have to struggle for anything. We shall make sure that whatever it is that you need as a public service is available to you. People power. Our power. Kunga Uganda kunga. Thank you so much.
From what you've heard, do you want more of the same or you want change? You already have a clear picture of what is going to be in the new Uganda. And we are not just saying we are going to do these things, we have people who are going to do these things. I'm sure you're confident that these young ladies and doctors are capable of delivering what they have just promised. That said, before we welcome our alumni to perform the skit, we shall first have a surprise artist, Felisa the superstar. He's going to sing perform for us. Thank you so much. DJ.
Mr. President.
Thank you so much for that. We are going to have one more presentation and then we'll have the skit. At this point, many of you have been asking, because in our manifesto we have told you we are going to create 10 million jobs. And many of you have been saying, how is that possible? I think most of you have gotten used to governments which don't create jobs. I'm going to welcome Honorable Mwanga Chibumbi to present on the issue of unemployment and how we are going to create jobs for you. Thank you so much.
People power. Our power. NUP. President kantwalayo omukisa ogw'enjawulo okukulisaayo mu kuleta Mubende ne kuleta Luweero. Bale mumukuliseeyo kyabadde kyalabi yakikoze. One, let me start with a simple philosophy in managing an economy. It is akin to going to war. Because quite often, after all this struggle we are in to remove a dictator, and our president, after swearing in, he will be just occupying the momentarily a certain hill stop. But it will also define how far the climb has been and how steep the next journey to end unemployment, to create a better life, to give our people better opportunities. It will just be a beginning of a major struggle. Now, like any other war, developing an economy entails taking over what we call commanding heights. Commanding heights of an economy starts with, I'll only mention two that are very relevant. A commanding height of an economy, the first one is an emergency of an enlightened elite class in a country. I'm using the word enlightened, not people who have gone to school. An enlightened elite class is aware they must live simple so that their people must simply live. They do every sacrifice. They have a command of duty, responsibility, commitment, sacrifice, patriotism, and courage to ensure they deliver a nation. The second commanding height is an emergency, a skilled, which they've talked about, of a skilled, healthy, working human resource, for which people have talked about health and education. Another commanding height is peace. When I talk about peace, I'm speaking about durable, predictable, peace that we take for granted, not an absence of war and gunshots. Once you have that peace and stability, then you have occupied another commanding height. But in the role of that peace is the role of the military, for which most militaries in Africa fail African presidents. The military complex, other than waging war, is the gatherer of strategic information and direction of a country. They have a duty to unflinchingly speak to a president, no matter how difficult, to tell the president that what you are doing is not right, change the direction, take a new course because of the future of our country. Now, our military think all they do is to consolidate and the presidency. Another commanding height, of course, is finance and banking, which I'll leave. But my role was to demonstrate to you that we can create 10 million new jobs. I think that is an understatement. In Tanzania here, they have demonstrated, starting with Magufuli, that in 5 years you can transform a country. The young man, the general, the friend of the president, who Traore, has demonstrated that in 3 years just you can transform a country. We are sure with the National Unity Platform, with the discipline of the National Unity Platform, it will take us 2 to 3 years to put Uganda right and begin a new course, not just to give you peace and stability, to give this country a heritage of an ever-improving destiny. I'm speaking about the heritage. Chavsika. Countries change forever. Good leaders don't change countries momentarily during their regime. They give them a basis of an ever better life for their citizens. And it is possible, starting with Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu and the National Unity Platform. Will it be reinventing the wheel? No. Nations start from somewhere. America was given an opportunity by one man called George Washington. So was India. China was given an opportunity by Chairman Mao and others. Singapore by Lee Kuan Yew. And so many other countries. So I have no doubt, and I've worked with our president closely. I have no doubt he will deliver Uganda the promised land. So be out there, and all you have to do is to go out 4 months from now, 2 months, and vote. Now, this is what we are going to do to create jobs. One, we are going to leverage tourism. Tourism has the potential to create new jobs in Uganda. And let me speak about tourism. Tourism today does not mean the presence of crocodile and lions. For you to have a tourist destination, you must improve all the things the Sabims have talked about. Infrastructure, have peace, have better roads, have communication, have better hotels. Once you do that, tourists will simply come, even without branding. So you don't need to. There must be roads without tanks and tear gas. There must be respect for human rights. Every time you put Eddie Mutwe in a basement, you are discouraging 1,000 and hundreds of thousands tourists. No one wants to come to a country where people are put in a basement. It can't. Every time you sit down on Kampala Road, you are discouraging tourists. So, today people go to Dubai. Are there dinosaurs in Dubai? Are there lions in Dubai? Are there valleys in Dubai? Are there rivers in Dubai? It's because they have done a first-class infrastructure. That's what our government will do. The second thing we shall do to leverage is to create an industrial sector that can create jobs. An industrial sector that can create jobs will be the one that has a backward and forward linkage. Backward linkage is an industrial base that will be built on our comparative advantage, which is agriculture. And when you build an industry on agriculture, two, we are now getting a new comparative advantage. We are one of the richest nations in mineral potential in the world. From oil to uranium to gold to tin to everything you need in Uganda we have. How very fast shall actually the thinking in the other sector of the economy is if we had developed our industrial sector, our mineral sector faster, we would never have needed to borrow to develop the oil sector. Therefore, we are going to fast track a huge industrial complex based on our mineral resources, on our agricultural resources, on our fish industry, on everything we have, and create hundreds and millions of jobs for our people. We're also going to do where our presidents come from. He has been speaking about the 4 A's. Okay? The arts, the academics, So we are going to do a sports and arts industry that will deliver Uganda. And we can tell you today, a 1 billionaire that has joined the billionaire rank this week by Forbes magazine is not an industrialist. He's a one man called Cristiano Ronaldo. He's a footballer. How many Cristiano Ronaldos can we have in Uganda? You see a young man like Alan Okello. Had he been given opportunities years back, that one would be a billionaire in the making. We have artists that are doing so well. We've just seen a young girl here performing, so perfect. In another world, this younger girl instantly will be a millionaire in terms of millions of what? Dollars. They won't be performing in Uganda. No. And there you need a right law, corporate law. You need a law that protects artists. You need a law that ensures that they earn from their talent. And that law, Mr. President, in the next 200 days of our parliament, we will put that law in place. So once you do those best things, then other things simply fall in. So our promise for a new Uganda is a Uganda that will ensure you have a heritage of prosperity, not for now, not for our children, it will be for infinity and beyond. And with those few words, I thank you. I'm requested to translate what I've talked about in Uganda briefly. Ensi yonna national platform bwemala okuwangula egenda ku lutabaalo olwokubiri. Olutabaalo olwokubiri bwe lw'okukyusa obulamu bw'abannansi. Okubatta mu mbeera embi temukooye, tugende mu mbeera ki ey'okwesiima. Tetubagamba mbu tulwanirira mu nsi muno mubeere baavu. No! Ekitulwanyisa bannayuganda mubeere baki bagagga nga muli mu bulamu obukola ki obwesiimisa nga temusula na sweki. Wano mu Uganda abantu basula n'ebinyonyi. Wano mu Uganda abantu basula n'ente. Abantu mu Uganda basula wamu n'embuzi nga temuli mu nnyumba za nsiisira. Ng'obudde bwe buziba tekitegeeza kizikiza, kitegeeza ekitangaala obukulembeze obulungi obulala bwe bukikuwadde. Ng'abantu abagala okuba obulungi muli buki bulungi. N'olwekyo olutalo lwe tuliko lwakuba buki bulungi. Kubanga tukoye embeera ki embi. Ebyo okubifuna wano wammanga tulina okubikola. One, wateekwa okuvaayo abakulembeze abaagala eggwanga lyabwe nga ddala mwenyo gya ggwanga. Ekyo kitegeeza si bakulembeze bannabyabufuzi bokka, nammwe mwenna bagayi. Olikaawo, oli kimanyi oli community development officer, oli nurse, oli headmaster, working a permanent secretary in our government, a corrupt one, pack your bags nga tetunnasimbula. Olumala okulaga bwoti olyanza nemujini y'obuli corrupt, please just run away. Kyagulanyi atuuse, kiboko ya uchafu. Kiboko ya uchi, kiboko ya uchi, kiboko ya uchi. N'olwo kwe tuleeta kiboko ya uchi. Buli alimuttate kobeere speaker ojja kgenda, kobeere ame commander ojja kgenda, kobeere nga president stasonka okweba permanent secretary simawati abali mu office eyo musibe ettaayi tubaviira ku nguudo tubawa emmotoka empya tubasasulira insurance. Please obuvunaanyizibwa bwammwe bugenda kuba kolera ggwanga lyaffe n'abantu baffe. Ne political class will be required to do that. Political class itegeeza buli omu okuva ku president, genda ku kansala, genda ku w'omuluka, genda ku gwe kaada futu soja. Tokola ba futu soja, genda mu gavumenti ng'osuulira tinaawe olifuna omukisa okubba essente z'eggwanga. Ekitutwala mu kino kwenswalinya nti abaana baffe n'ensi yaffe tubawa ekyobusika ekyaleero, ekyenkya, ekirivaawo, abada tugende mu nsi ey'essanyu, okwesiima, okuba obulungi, okweyagala, okufa nga tetukolima lwaki twazaalibwa. N'abana lwaki okwekomba okufa. Njabawa story. Batwala Lusira maximum prison mu bya popular resistance. Nesangayo omwana omuto bali bwe young boys ne babuza lwaki babakutte ne baŋŋamba wano Lusira w'otulese muwanga w'otusanze twesimika okuba wano dana okubeerwa eyo. Ne mbabuuza lwaki ne baŋŋamba ti wano mu kkomera tuli assured ekyeggulu kyakawunga naye weekiri. N'olwekyo ekkomera we nabasanga they were happy to be in prison because they will be assured of supper and dinner and shelter. That's not the Uganda we want. To a man or moto, I just prefer you to Shigalam Komera than a Kuwere, Weru, Wanda, a new Komera, Afune Cheguro, Ovechemichi, Echemisana. No, tugenda kutumbula ebyobulambuzi nga tutandikira ddala okulaba nti buli kimu ekikola obulambuzi tukiteekamu ssente ezeetaagisa tusobole okuleeta abalambuzi baleete ssente bazireke wano nga bebaba mu Uganda tebeeralikira tiyagasi tebeeralikira kukwatibwa twalibwa mu komera tebajja kuba mu infrastructure. Actually Malaysia waliyo tourism police abalambuzi be bajja Malaysia okuva ku airport ng'oli mulambuzi mukifeera mu katenge zino ezitwala balupembe ogenda okutuppa bw'ojja ng'oli mulambuzi nga tukutikka nga tukuyisa mu traffic jam mangu nga tukutwala mu hoteli ennungi ng'osasula ng'abaana baffe bafuna emirimu. Instead wano emmotoka za poliisi zitambuza balupembe bagenda mu ofisi kunyaga ssente zaffe. No, those pickups will be picked from you tuziwe twice zibanguye okutuuka we tubagirako ki lupiya. Ekyo kiraba kibi. Tugenda kuzimba amakolero agannamaddala. Amakolero gaffe gagenda kukola kyebagamba kusinziira ku maanyi n'ebyobugagga Katonda byakola ki byatuwa. Uganda bannange buli kimu tukirina. Mabule tetulina okubeera wano tewali yazze leero nga gavumenti oba owegombola yamuwadde mmere waliwa wano waliwo eyazze ng'omwezi guno yafunayo akawunga ka gavumenti nga yafunayo omuceere gwa gavumenti noti ensi asobola okweriisa olubuto tekitwala myaka 3 kugitereeza. Sebo President myaka 3 bwekiti mujja kubeera mu ggwanga eddala sino lye mukozeeki lyemubaddemu nga n'ebyenfuna weebiki bitangaavu. Okola ekyo tugenda kukwata ebyobugagga mu ttaka ku nnyanja tugenda kuzimba amakolero nga gasobola okuliikiriza oba galiikirizibwa obulimi n'okwongera ssente mu byobulimi. Tugenda kutumbula ebitone by'abantu bonna mu Uganda asobola okudduka bwe kanyonkugulunyweza asobola okuwa ebikonde naawe nyweza ebikonde asobola okuyimba bambi teekamu amaanyi asobola buli kyosobola okukola kiteekemu amaanyi anti Kyagulanyi ajja. Abantu mweka bateetaaga Kyagulanyi namweka mbabuulire mwe ababbi abagayaavu abatukaleeti ku mirimu ono gwe tuleese kibooko yawuka. National Unity Platform is a train for disciplining Ugandans and delivering for a better country. I thank you. God bless.
Mr. President, wawulidde ebigenda okubeera mu Uganda empya afunye akakisa okubeera wano ddayo otegeeze buli omu ky'owulidde wano leero era abantu mu Baganda bali those who have given up empapula bazikubeko enfuufu. Uganda empya empapula ezo zigenda kuba za mugaso. Kati buli omu azze wano ky'owulidde tegeezaako munno asobole okutegeera ekiyuniridde Uganda empya. Having said that, mujja kutuukiriza tweko omukisa alumni by School of Leadership, whatever performing on the skit. The people power! Our power! People power! NUP! And everywhere! Ladies and gentlemen! That's the way I am but I guess that you are official campaigners, our flag bearers, NUP! Listen very carefully. To the good news, ladies and gentlemen.
To the oppressed, to the mothers who put bed on hospital floors, to the parents whose children have been seated at home for close to a month. This is the good news. In less than 2 to 3 months, we are entering a new Uganda. People power!
Our power! People power!
Everywhere!
People power!
Our power!
Our power!
People!
Kunga Uganda, kunga! Kunga NUP, kunga! Kunga isasema kunga! Kunga kunga kunga!
Pepsi.
Oyocha.
Awa.
Akabonero ki?
Ku president ku MP tulondanga to.
Wait, I will boy Oyocha.
Your system was sham. No. How did it such an
This gentleman here. Olisa, Oyocha. In fact, Oyocha, Osirisa. This guy here, we know him. He competed for the party card. He was not given that chance. And then you decided to run independently.
But I've been in the party for so long. Yes, for the party. I will be the president everywhere.
My friend, we had trust in you. We trusted you. You brought the party everything. No, shut up for me. Power.
NUP.
Everywhere. The brother bear is here.
Hello, comrades.
Yes.
My name is Honorable Gorogoro. And I am the flower bearer of Kavule East Constituency. People. Good. I am here to tell you about my manifesto.
Before you make the manifesto, Gorogoro do! Honorable Gorogoro do!
My first thing I'm going to do as Honorable Gorogoro is to make sure I supply sugar. I'm going to make sure I supply salt. Everybody will have salt in their homes. I am the rightful honorable, and I'm giving you sugar and salt.
Honorable.
Listen. The other one I'm going to make sure I give you rice. Pilau.
Honorable, what is that?
That is my beautiful manifesto.
I see. I don't know. Relax.
Yes.
You are the flag bearer of NUP.
Yes.
My friend, NUP has a very strong manifesto.
Are you sure?
You don't have to feed it around looking for what to say, to tell people. Just finish Don't worry.
Our manifesto has priorities. Priority number 1, restore freedom, constitutionalism, rule of law, and our party, everything.
We are manifesto.
I want to tell you, our manifesto has priorities. Priorities number 2. We want to end corruption and wasteful expenditure. We're going to have a lean and efficient government. MPs twagala abiri, ba ministers twagala abiri, ba MPs twagala kinana, district twagala zikendeza. Honorable. Yes, we are going to have in a new Uganda, we are going to consolidate national unity. We are going to rebuild communities and eliminate sectarianism. Twagala na Uganda berenga mani manifesto.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the new Uganda that we the citizens of this beloved our country are claiming for now.
Yes.
National Unity Platform Manifesto guarantees equal access to quality public services. Ladies and gentlemen, education, healthcare, energy, and public infrastructure. Ladies and gentlemen, National Unity Platform Manifesto got you in this our country that we are suffering with high rate of unemployment and poverty. Ladies and gentlemen, the NUP manifesto is going to create 10 million new jobs in this our country. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Unity Platform Manifesto got you all in this our country. Children that suffer with hunger in schools. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Unity Platform Manifesto is going to establish a public school feeding program to transform agriculture. Ladies and gentlemen, what a manifesto.
Why? Put the priorities down.
Put
the president.
Comrades, yes, honorables, we still have much more. Not only the already outlined priorities of the manifesto, but our mighty party is also committed to tackle all issues on land with immediate effect. It will stop land grabbing, mama. It will restore stolen land to victimized individuals, as well as guarantee to secure land rights. All good news for you, comrades. As reflected to the priority 8 of our manifesto, our NUP as a party will directly promote decentralization at all levels, both at local and regional government. My honorables, my comrades, our mighty party, the NUP, is going to strengthen the foreign policy, positioning the diaspora as an asset, as well as strengthen our competition at global level in order to build and develop our country in Uganda.
James, Uganda, natural resource management and technology.
Now, gentlemen, you made a very big mistake. We had trust in you. But since you decided to stand against the flag bearer, first of all, you violated all the party values. Think about the revolutionary discipline, where you had to accept the results. No, you are no longer trusted. You lost that trustworthiness. You are no longer reliable, and you lost that integrity.
Talks about the obligation of you as a member of the party, that you have the obligation to abide and protect our party constitution. And Article 5(c) also tells you that if anyone stands against the party flag bearer, there and then, you cease to be a member of National Unity Party.
Your candidate is no longer a member. That's what you are moving.
Yes.
You can
President Ngobi akukobera tusibe bugaito asikotikinga ngaito ngaito yowenga kezo.
We have foreigners here.
My also permitted to call it comrades.
Yeah.
We came to listen to you, and it comes to my concern that indeed, Honorable His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu is the President of Uganda. Lastly, I want to categorically state that according to your manifesto, you do not have to be an elite to work for the people or to execute duties for the people. NUP manifesto is the only way to go.
People power.
I'm going to try
Next time better. Those are alumni from our School of Leadership. And also Makurunji. Namwe yanigwanida akakisi okusoma era essomero lyaffe ebyo bibuddemu mu ssomero lyaffe. We hope to expand the capacity of the school. Of course, it's regrettable that this government has ducted our leaders of the school, but at least you can see the value that comes out of that investment. continuously tell you that the government we have currently is working against you, not for you. No one would not want to have a school which gives us such products, such levels of creativity. Naye tulowooza nti bwe n'abadde balaba mutegedde ensonga eziri mu manifesto yaffe. At this point, our time is fast spent, but also conveniently, we plan that when it reaches this time, we can present the popular school feeding program. So the next priority area is the school feeding program, which is going to be presented by our party treasurer, Honorable Benjamin Katana. You're welcome.
People power, our power, NUP, everywhere. You know, it's very dangerous to talk about feeding at a time when people are beginning to feel hungry. It'll take a short time. Mr. President, our distinguished leaders, and all of you citizens, fellow citizens gathered here, and those that are watching us from elsewhere. I am here to share one of the priority areas in our manifesto, which is about the school feeding program. As a nation, we have had the misfortune of being led by a group of incompetent and unambitious people who only measure success on the basis of the past. And as a result, they have made some sections of our society equal and ambitious. And when we present a very fine picture of how a new Uganda, the future will look like my colleagues have ably done, there are many people who doubt whether it will be implemented or not. The school feeding program is a multi-sectoral, multi-purpose, and multi-dimensional program that is intended to achieve about 4 objectives under the bigger idea of NUP's plan for improving the quality of life of Ugandans. Because a government which cares about its people, a government which is people-centered, will automatically focus on improving the quality of life of the citizens. So the first objective under this plan, the plan is basically about providing a meal to the school-going children at primary level every day, a hot meal that is nutritious. And of course, we are going to do a survey, and the materials will be sourced from the homesteads in this country. So the first objective is to boost household incomes. And how do we intend to achieve this? We intend to elevate the household in Uganda into a production unit that will produce these raw materials that will be procured for purposes of feeding the children at school. If you are in an area, for example, that produces soya bean, and you know that it's a nutritious product that will help to boost the growth of these children, that will help eliminate malnutrition-related diseases, then the investment will be in soya bean to make sure that the different households in that area are supported to produce soya bean, which will be procured by the school to feed the children. If you are from a fishing community and you have silverfish mukene, or you have fish, the investment of the NUP government will be in that sector to make sure that the households are able to supply the school with this product and earn money, but also feed the children. If you are from a milk producing community, and we have so many people who have been struggling with market for their milk to the extent that sometimes you see they are pouring it, sometimes they are selling it at 200 shillings a litre, when in Kampala it is 2,000 a litre. We are going to provide a market at the nearest school. The government of NUP will procure the milk, feed your children will be healthy, but your pockets will also be healthy. The other aspect related to that, away from boosting the household incomes, is boosting agriculture. Agriculture is the leading employer in this country. However, it has not received sufficient support from government. And one of the challenges that the farmers face is the lack of market for their products. I've given you an example of milk, and there are several other examples where people are struggling to find market for their products. Sometimes they are even cheated by the middlemen and middlewomen, but also cheated by the so-called industrialists who are protected by the cartel that whose ambition is only to extract money from the population. So now we want to create a market at the nearest school in your community to make sure that now your products will be sold to the school, you will earn money, your children will feed, and they will learn well. The other aspect related to that is fostering better learning environment. A hungry child cannot concentrate in class. By the statistics of government itself, today, the dropout rate in primary school is 68%. By implication, it means that out of 100 people who enroll in P1, 68 of those 100 don't complete P7. And that is a time bomb. And my colleagues have ably explained the other interventions that our government is going to come up with, including the increment on the capitation grant from the 6,000 per term to a more reasonable figure. But we are now also, in addition to that, going to introduce feeding of children at school so that people are not driven out of class by hunger to go to prison like the ones that the Honorable Mwanga was talking about. Even in school, you see, children are comfortable going to jail because they are assured of dinner. But now we want to make sure that they are comfortable going to school because they are assured of a meal, and a nutritious meal. Fellow citizens, the other intervention related to that is about the elimination of malnutrition. Every household in Uganda today spends a lot of money, and which money most households do not have, on meeting medical bills for taking children to hospital. And most of these children fall sick because of low immunity levels, because of poor feeding. So by feeding these children with a hot, nutritious meal every day, we are going to reduce the cost of medical bills significant amounts by making sure that the children are healthy, they are feeding well, and they are learning. They are not missing school because they are sick, and the parents are not spending money they don't have on them to meet medical bills because they are healthier. And so many people have been asking, when we have been talking about this, the school feeding program, that how are you going to implement this? We intend to implement it through by working closely with PTA, the Parents Teachers Associations. Most of them under the current regime have collapsed, but we are going to work hard to make sure that we restore them, that we strengthen them, so that they can be leading stakeholders working with government, but particularly working with the community development officers at the sub-county for purposes of coordination to make sure that this program is implemented. We are also going to make sure, especially in areas where production of these nutritious things is a little bit complicated because of climate and other things. And we have other interventions like irrigation that my colleagues have talked about. But we are also going to make sure that we strengthen the production unit of state agencies like Uganda prisons so that they can be able to produce for some parts of the country that are not able to produce some of these products. And fellow citizens, this intervention also has a multiplier effect. In a sense, that if the schools in a certain sub-county in Chusa are procuring eggs for the school, it means that even the person who makes the chicken feeds is going to get a business. It means that some young people are going to get jobs to work in the poultry farm. It means that some young people are going to get jobs to work in the feeds factory.
So this program is comprehensive and it is intended to cover a number of dimensions. How do we intend to do this? We intend to spend 1,500 on each student per day. And we are targeting 5 million children for the initial program. The total cost of this comes to around 1.5 trillion to implement this. And many people have been asking that where are you going to get 1.5 trillion from? My colleagues have given you a clear picture of what is happening in Uganda, and our president has been emphasizing that Uganda is a rich country, but we are poor. We are poor people. Because the statistics of the Inspectorate of Government have placed the money lost to corruption to about 9 trillion a year. And for us, we are looking for 1.5 trillion to feed our children. That is a very insignificant part of the money that is lost. We have been told about the mineral wealth that this country is blessed with. Our responsibility is to utilize the wealth for the benefit of the citizens. And so many people have been asking that there is a program going on called Parish Development Model. That how is it going to continue surviving under the NUP government? NUP government is a pro-people government, is a pro-development government. And what has not been managed well, our responsibility is to manage it well. The money that people are being given, for example, to go and invest in whichever they please, without training, without proper alignment with the market forces, for us we shall invest it in making sure that households produce food which will be procured by the schools in their communities. And by doing so, the little money that they are given will have a big impact, not just on their income, but on the health of their children and the health of the nation. I thank you.
Thank you so much. If you think that 1.5 trillion is a lot of money, remember that Uganda, under the NIM government, has since spent 1.24 trillion on Lbowa Hospital project, which remains a construction site at best. So the problem is not the lack of finances, it is the misuse of those finances. Thank you so much. We are going to welcome Madam Ramto Apio Flavia, who will present about how we are going to stop land grabbing, which we think is a very serious challenge in this country that has affected all the other forms of development, because we believe that land is a very crucial factor of production and any other form of development you want to do. She will also be joined by Ms. Natalie Margaret, who will present about empowering regional and local governance. Thank you so much. I welcome the able ladies who come and present that quickly. Let's utilize the time that we have.
People power. Our power. People power. My name is Ramto Flavia Pio from northern Uganda, Omoro district. I bring you revolutionary greetings from all the villages of Omoro district. Firstly, because we are the first-hand victims of land grabbing in Uganda today. For many of us, for millions of Ugandans, if not all, we live in fear of losing our land, not to natural disasters, but to government officials, to government actors, and to many investors in the disguise of conservation. However, we bring a new Uganda. No wonder, us from northern Uganda are very eager for the new Uganda. We are eagerly waiting. It's 3 months now. And I assure you, it is protest votes up there. Since 2006, my brothers from the north can testify. The Uganda Wildlife Authority gazetted the areas of our power
in the disguise of conservation, I repeat. And our people of Madi and Acholi were forcefully and bitterly convicted from their land. Many years later, they were given unsatisfactory compensation. This has led to a lot of people picking arms against each other. Madi and Acholi have lived together from the times of our ancestors. But after this, we saw a lot of us picking arms against each other. We saw us picking pangas, fighting each other. Convictions have become a big issue in northern Uganda because it has torn our communities apart. Not just the communities of Acholi, but the communities of West Nile, of Karamoja, of Lango. But here's the good news. The National Unity Platform that seeks election to government looks to address visible solutions to these pending issues. First, we seek to protect Milo land and tenants by enforcing legal safeguards for Milo land owners and tenants. We'll also look at secure customary land rights by reviewing current past land transactions and taking concrete steps to restore land to rightful owners. We're also looking at having registration of all land. From a small landowner in Amuru to a big landowner in Entebbe, all your land is registered, because why not? As young graduates, NUP also seeks to support us to use technology to establish a homegrown IT system using the blockchain technology that is a secure digital system. The graduates in the house, you need to be very excited because finally we shall have jobs in the new Uganda. This will accommodate registration of all land, I repeat, and they'll have no more forged and fraudulent titles. We're seeing a lot of people losing their land because the powerful and the people in the government are using fraudulent means to get titles. The National Unity Platform seeks with a bold vision on land rights where no one lives in fear of possible eviction, unhealthy conflict, fraudulent acquisition of titles, closing loopholes of land grabbing and neglected land rights. Thank you so much, and people power, our power. Afoy down Dutch, Miko Malme Uganda, Mi Central Uganda, Mika Weng Uganda. And here I'm to appear Flavia, Aki Moro District. Team Wabilo to Manifesto Area 7, Malo Lokamanu Ngom, Padang, Ikumalme Uganda. Team Yuku Lokangom, it is Uganda or country. But here's my National Unity Platform.
Thank you so much. We appreciate, we love you and recognize the pains of our people who have lost their land and this government. But she talks about the fact that we are going to create a system where people can access digitally. Your land title and right estate should not be a secret, or not notice or disanga that it is hidden somewhere. Omuntu yena yanibada tegere takali likomawa obaliwa echapa chiliwa solo kutekawo system eyakalimagezi esolo kisobozesa ffe ng'abannansi okulaba ettaka lyaffe nekituyambako abantu abagala nnyo okubba ettaka because they complicate the systems. That said, there is a special person, special to me and special to the team from this side, who has been breaking down the manifesto on their social media platforms. Those of you asking how can I understand the manifesto further, you'll go to Natalie's social media platforms and all their content is there. Allow me in a special way to welcome her to talk about regional and local governments devolutions. The real one, not the one they pretend about.
Thank you so much. People power, our power, a protocol observed. My name is Margaret Natalie. I am from Mukono municipality, and today I'm going to talk about priority number 8, which seeks to empower regional and local governance through real devolution. Now, when you're talking about devolution, we are basically speaking transfer of powers from the central government to the local government or regional government. And you should pay more attention to the word real, because someone from this government is going to come and argue that, oh, we have devolution, we have decentralization, but it is not real. Ladies and gentlemen, the decentralization in the interim government is pseudo, but the NUP government wants to bring to you real devolution. We want to have a region or a local government that has real power. Power to give you the public services you deserve, power to make sure they make decisions that affect you, the common person. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to, with a very painful heart, I want to inform you that the local government, I want to bring to your attention that the local government only gets 7.2% of the total national budget. While we are supposed to do 70% of the work you see this government is doing. Why? If you didn't know, the local government is in charge of your roads. All those roads you see that do not connect to the roads that are constructed by UNRWA are done by the local government. The health centers you see in your community or in Uganda, they're under the care of the local government. The public schools or government schools you see in your area, they're under the care of the local government. But we get funding that is way less. And this national unity platform government wants to end that. Our promises are only 4 in the new Uganda when it comes to local government. Because you know, when we work on the local government, every Ugandan out there is going to receive the public services they need. Number 1, we want to bring what we call the National Devolution Dialogue Council. This is going to be like a committee that is going to be revising, because before the interim government came, all the governments before, we had regional governments. We didn't have this many districts we have today. When the interim government came and they bring the local government act, they have been trying to break down the districts to the many 140 plus districts we have today. They are not breaking down the districts to improve the public services to you. They are basically breaking down districts to increase their votes, to increase the number of MPs in parliament that support the NUP. Now, for us, we are bringing this council to make sure we discuss. The council will have religious leaders, cultural leaders, civil leaders, and regional leaders to discuss. If we went back to regional governance, how would Uganda be? And this council, we want to bring it in 2026, immediately after swearing in. We come up with this council. Number 2, I come with such news for anyone here or anyone watching who was waiting to come at RDC in the NUP government. One thing we are going to delete immediately we get power are the office of the RDC, assistant RDC, deputy RDC, because they're just taking our money, but not to improve services. I must tell you that, you see your LC1s and LC2 leaders, they get 10K, 10,000 Uganda shillings per month, and this money comes at the end of the year. Of recent parliament sat and they agreed to increase their money to 50,000. This government doesn't love you, dear Ugandans, because most of these LC1 chairpersons are NRM, but they get 10,000. That's why you see them out of office every time. That's why you see them increasing the amount of money you have to go to get a stamp, which you get a free of charge. Now, we've been telling you Ugandans that this government doesn't love you, and you didn't know until at least we from Mukono we got the chance, and the man told us point blank live. Likewise, wherever you are, so this is the time to vote for a leader, a leader that wants to see that you're working in. We we want to address regional inequality, we must agree that Uganda faces the same problems when it comes to infrastructure, health, schools, etc. But also we must accept that the problems in the education sector in northern Uganda or in eastern Uganda are not the same as in central Uganda. We must agree that the health care or the roads in other regions of the country are not at the same level. So much as we want to improve these infrastructure and public services, we have to be careful on where we add more money so that we can lift different regions to the same level. And those are the 4 basic parts we are going to focus on. And maybe briefly for the people that do not understand English, National Unity Platform, ngetuse mu buyinza, twagala okulaba nga tuteekawo olukiiko luyise National Devolution Dialogue Council. Olukiiko lwogera kwerako abakulembeze ab'ekinnansi, abakulembeze ab'ebitongole by'obwannakyewa, abakulembeze ba mu lubiri essaawa eno, n'abakulembeze ba regions. Tulabe singa tuddeyo ku nkola eri gye twalina eya federo, nga buli region erina obukulembeze obwayo. Uganda eno egenda kubeera etya? Kuba tujizudde nti disitulikiti ze tulina ennyingi gavumenti eno zeereese tebali kuzireetawo kwongeza mpeereza y'emirimu gye balina obakolera, wabula bagyongeza kwongeza muwendo gw'ababaka ba palamenti aba NRM. Basically tebali mukikola kubongeza bukulembeze. N'ekirala twagala twongeza ku funding, twongeza ku ssente ze tuwa local governments, kubanga tulabye nga bakola 7 ku buli 10 ku mirimu gavumenti eno gyerina okukola mu masomero, mu malwaliro, ku nguudo n'ebirala, wabula ng'ate ssente ze babawa ntono nnyo. Twagala twongeze from 7.6% gye tuliko kati up to 40% by 2030. Twagala tuteekeyo graders, twagala tuteekeyo tractors, twagala tuwe at least manifesto yagambye at least buli district ebeereyo ne tippers 5 okutandikirwako okulaba nga ziri ku solid waste management. Twogedde ku bachairperson b'ebyalo LC2s, akasente tugambye buli ssentebe w'ekyalo oba LC2 afuna $1,000 buli mwezi, ate nga tezijja buli mwezi, zijja ng'omwaka guwedde. Kutegeeza mu mwaka ssentebe w'ekyalo afuna $12,000. Palamenti yatudde n'eteesa bawongereko bave ku $1,000 mpaka ku $5,000. Nempaka nga bannayuganda gavumenti eno tetwagalangako. Olaba LC abasinga mu Uganda bali mu kibiina kya NRM naye bafuna $1,500. Olwo gwe nakatowa bwe nakaddu waabwe atalina wa NRM osubira bagenda kufaako ddi. Ne tugamba nti twagala twongeze nga tuba tugaba ssente zigenda okukola ennyo mu regions eza Uganda ez'enjawulo, tuzongeza okusinziira ku need nti abatalina amasomero mu regions endala nti fenna tulina ebizibu byebimu kulijja ku byokusoma, ebyobulamu, enguudo n'ebirala, wabula tulina okukkiriza nti regions ez'enjawulo zifeesinga ebizibu bino mu ngeri za njawulo. Yes, mu Buganda tuyinza okugamba amasomero tulina mabi, naye nga level y'obubi gye tuliko ate si yemu n'abali mu Eastern region oba mu Northern oba mu West. Katwagala nga tuba tuweereza zino ssente tusichanolinge according to need okusinziira ku bwetaavu. So yeyo priority yaffe number 8 in brief. Ngala we wabagambye bannayuganda mwenna nagezezaako okumenya manifesto zino priority zonna 11 mu Luganda kuva kwesooka paka kwesembayo. Page yange nze natabi ku TikTok n'abalala basharinze ku X. So in case totegeera Luganda babadde basharinga mu Luzungu bonna bonna nga bibadde bikalubirizamu, osobola ogenda ku TikTok eyo ne weeyongera okwennyonnyoka zino zonna priorities mu lulimi Oluganda. Neyanzizanyo
Satemale njagala ogata konta akakiiko kagenda kubeerako abakulembeze b'ennono. Abamu manyi mbadde mukite kulaninge naye. That said, I know some of you have been enjoying the presentation, but we are about to come to an end. Zibadde 11 tugaziza 3 zokka. I know that some of you have been enjoying the presentations, but we are about to come to our end. We have only 3 that are left. We will present those quite quickly, and then we recognize that time has been fast spent. We don't want people here. We have told you the new government, we want people to work, to use their talents, to develop our nation. So we want to give you also time to prepare yourselves for the new government. That said, I'm going to welcome our NEC member, Councillor Ssentamu Robert, to talk about how we are going to position our country to the diaspora. He's just going to speak to how we are going to position our foreign policy outlook. Let me welcome Councillor Ssentamu Robert to come and present in the next 5 minutes. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
So I rarely speak in public. I am still going to catch my breath. I hope you can bear with me. I'm happy to see you here. My name is Sas Marvin. I think I've already been introduced. By show of hands, how many of you know a doctor called Mujimu David Sylvester? How many of you have you heard of a doctor called Mujimu David Sylvester? Okay, no one. So Dr. Mujimu is always a surgeon. He worked for 26 years in a country called Namibia. When he was approaching his retirement, the Namibian government blocked his bank accounts. They didn't just block his bank accounts, they took 6 billion Uganda shillings of his savings and they took them to their central bank. Dr. Mujimu sued everyone he could in Namibia and he went all the way up to the Supreme Court and he lost. In frustration, Dr. Mujimu gathered the little that he had left. He gathered his cars, there were about 3, 2 state-of-the-art Land Cruisers and a Toyota Fortuner. This is 2017 and he hit the road from Namibia to Uganda. He came by road. He came with his cars and he came with hundreds of millions of cash. When he reached the border at Mutukula, he was arrested by a team of jacks and Ugandan police officers from Interpol. They arrested him from no man's land, took his money, about 300 million, and then now brought him up to a police post somewhere in Mutukula. They accused him of funding rebels fighting the Ugandan government. And after a while, they released him. They set him free on police bond. But the real thing that they wanted, the real reason why they arrested him was to take the money and the property. So in as much as they set him free, they held on to the cars, and of course they held on to the cash because formally under the law, they had not taken the money. He went and complained to Professional Standards Unit, and eventually the charges against him of fighting the regime were formed bogus, and they were dismissed. After some time, this whole ordeal traumatized him so much. He became a drug addict. When I say drugs, I really mean medical drugs. So he started abusing drugs and they took him to Tarika Hospital. But after some time, he escaped from the hospital and went back to his home in the constituent of Honorable Sel Kenya. It was in Chikanju March in the Salagawi. So one random day in September 2018, Dr. Mujimu committed suicide. He left a suicide note that said he had committed suicide because of the stealing of his property by Ugandan police and everything that he had gone through. Now, the story of Dr. Mujimu, I believe, is a story that many of our comrades in the diaspora find relatable. You, our comrades, are patriotic, you are hardworking, and you love your country. But you left Uganda because Uganda had stopped protecting and working for you. There is so much you can contribute to our country's development, but remain underutilized, remain neglected by a regime that now sees you as enemies instead of seeing you as citizens with full and equal rights. You are abused and sometimes killed at work, but Uganda never intervenes for you. You can't renew your passports or get national IDs without hassle. You face an endless bureaucracy when you try to invest back home. You cannot protect your property in Uganda because you're so far away. You are homesick. You miss your families. You miss your friends. You miss your relatives. You miss that smell of the soil when
we've just had a downpour, when we've just had rain. Some of you are on expired visas, especially in the Arab countries, but you cannot return home because, first of all, you can't afford the air ticket, and you also cannot afford the fines. You are doing jobs that you hate to death, but you continue doing them anyway because your life depends on them. You are enduring all the suffering because of poor leaders, but you cannot vote them out because you are too far away from Uganda. So you are basically excluded from the politics, from the life, from the economy, and from the decision making of this very country to which you contribute about 5 trillion Uganda shillings every single year. Well, I am here to comfort you and let you know that the National Unity Platform sees your struggles. We feel your pain, and we are committed to ending that pain in the following terms. Number 1, we shall ensure that you can vote in Uganda's elections no matter where you might be in the world. We shall remove all unnecessary limits to you acquiring your citizenship. Number 3, we shall grant automatic citizenship to any child under 18 years that's born to Ugandan parents in the diaspora. Our embassies shall process your passports and national IDs within 7 days of you applying for them. We shall facilitate the elderly, the distressed Ugandans abroad to return home. We shall also assist them to readjust life in Uganda and settle in like they never left. We shall organize and fund annual cultural trips for Ugandan children born in the diaspora to learn more about their culture and languages. We shall introduce what is called diaspora bonds, through which your comrades in the diaspora who are able and willing shall lend money to the government with the guarantee that you will get it back with a fat interest. We shall run a digital investment center through which you will be able to register businesses, buy property, make other investments in Uganda right from your mobile phone. We shall operate a secure and digital land registry system and amend our land laws to make sure that you can buy, sell, or enforce your rights in land without stepping in Uganda. As for our skilled professionals, we shall facilitate your temporary or permanent return home and reserve for you employment opportunities in our public service. For Ugandans suffering in Arab countries, we shall have free embassy services fighting your corner. In other words, we shall grant the diaspora, number 1, your full political rights. Number 2, the economic instruments you need to drive. Number 3, the legal protections you need to be safe and keep what you can. Number 4, we shall grant you a seat at the policy table deciding Uganda's future. I have read from cover to cover the manifestos of the 2 strongest opponents to our presidential candidate. This is exactly what those manifestos promise you, our comrades in the diaspora. These are the promises they make to you. So to back up our plan for the diaspora, as part of our foreign policy, this is what we intend to do. Number 1, we are going to withdraw all non-career diplomats from our embassies and replace them with competent professionals. Number 2, we are going to renegotiate international agreements, prioritize the interests of Ugandans, while at the same time ensuring that these agreements still remain beneficial to our neighbors and the international community. In short, we are going to turn Uganda into a country that works for all Ugandans and shows up for them no matter where they might be on this planet. We shall build a new Uganda where you will never again be raped, tortured, dehumanized, and forced into exile just because you hold a contrary political opinion. That Uganda comment is very possible. When I visited Dubai in 2022 and I saw the transformation that desert had gone through, I concluded, me as a person, that any country can transform itself if it decides. All it needs are leaders who are intentional and have the will to do what's right, no matter the cost. To transform Uganda, we just need political will. We don't need magic, we don't need miracles. And that political will now has a face. It has a name, and it has a heartbeat. The man seated right there. President Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert. He knows what it means to rise from nothing and achieve everything. But he also knows what it means to risk everything. Fighting in the hope that if he remains in that fight long enough, tomorrow will be a better day for everyone. So let us take a bet on this Moses of our time, the man who laid himself from the struggles, from the trenches, from the ghettos of Kamocha, and turned himself into a global success story. Let us take a bet on President Kyagulanyi and see if he will lead our country into the mecca of freedom and opportunity that we all yearn for. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councillor Marvin. That was very clear. Some of you are wondering, he told me he has read other parties' manifestos. When he put up a piece of paper, you saw nothing. In case you're wondering, he's just saying that other parties have nothing for you who stay in the diaspora. Thank you so much, Councillor Marvin, once again. We only have 2 people left, and perhaps these are the very important points we need to listen to. We were deliberate when we saved the best for the last. So we are going to have Miss Natalie Maria, the Koska. Some of you know the one, the whiskey, but it's a bit different. Just have to tweak it a little. Who is also a NEC member and one of our finest leaders from Eastern Uganda. Allow me to welcome her, present about the environment.
Thank you very much, Comrade Lawel. People power! Our power! NUP! Everywhere! Kunga, Uganda, Kunga! I am, my name is Maria Lebekoska Natabi Kashkai Kabutembe Okubambika Dobie Butembe. Era omubaka agende bendera ya NUP Butembe mu Jinja district. Nendo kutwala omukisa guno okwebaza Mr. President n'okwissusayo ebisoga weebale no weebalire irala kutulaga mukwano wasookera eka gye bakuzaala ebiddaadaabo ebisoga weebale ino baba. Today I'll be addressing priority area number 10, which talks about ensuring sustainable management of natural resources and climate resilience. Mwidi bulungi nti tuli bagayiganga ewanga Uganda era President ayidinga abakobera nti ebyobutonde ebyobugayiga bye tulina bingi ino abula obukulembeze bwe tulina n'obutali kubikozesa kimala kutuyigayigawaza ife abanansi. And that is where the problem is. Our problem is leadership. Our problem are not resources, because we are endowed in all ways. However, we also have a challenge of climate change. Climate change has affected our natural resources in various ways. I understand climate change is a global challenge. However, there are things leaders are doing to ensure that this climate change does not affect their people as badly as it is affecting us. Mwena mwidi ntena kudino tosobola kuplaningira bya bulimi ng'osinziira ku maadi agali kutonda ag'obwerere Katonda g'abanga atuwaire. Olina okuteekateeka mu ngeri ey'endawulo. Aye gavumenti enteviireeyo kutuwa bukugu obwo kuteekateeka bya bulimi byaife. N'ensonga lwaki enaku dino endala nningi. People do not have food because of the food insecurity caused by the climate change okukyusa amaadi engeri gye gali kutondamu ate ng'awo tuli kusinziira. You also know climate change is affecting our natural resources and land use, especially with the wetlands. You've seen how landslides have also affected our people, especially in the mountainous areas. And you know very well how climate change has also led to the degradation of our biggest resource, which are the fertile soils. You also know that climate change does not only affect our social well-being, or does not only affect the environmental well-being of our country, but it affects our infrastructure development. Mubutambula muboina kunga amadi gabwire wane Kampala mu kibuga kyaimwe kyemwete ekibuga. Amadi bwe gagwa gasibira wa mu nguudo mu butale era na sente damu wa musolo denizimbye. Therefore it is also taking us back. Awatu batayire sente okukola kwe tontono byetusasulira mu sente damu wa musolo era amadi gali kwongera okola ki okubyonoona. Bw'olingirira n'ensansanya ya sente d'omwi w'omusolo eri kweyongera olwa climate change. Nti saawa ena mwidda kubona di supplementary budgets diri kwidda mu palamenti olw'okuba waliwo disaster. Weebuuza tuli mu iwanga ki gavumenti eno tasobola kutyama ya planningira bulungi eiwanga lino omwaka mulamba. Tukoba inti landslide iwe nga government gwatuwe sente eningi okulingirira ebintu by'embere. You cannot forecast and mitigate such challenges and even include them in our budget. The problem of our country is not because we are under-resourced. The problem of this country is poor and bad leadership. And that is what the National Unity Platform is offering you through His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. And ask you an agile leader. Nenye songa dino atadi ningirire wala nga kitusobola kitwenda supplementary budget awulanga tudiplanningira mu bwire ebintu ebinaba bigwirewo ebyo tujabikola tutya. Tujja kunoonya entereeza tutegeere buli climate change weerigema okusobola okubonekanga tutegeera gavumenti kyerina okolawo nga kikaali kukola ki nga kikaali kubaawo. Era nga n'ekintu ekintu kyetujja okola kyetweta climate adaptation and mitigation mechanisms edendawulo era ndi mu manifesto yaife enenungi imwe abaire bakaali gisoma tulikoba tutya how are we going to adapt and mitigate the climate challenges we are facing. Ekisokera irala we are going to strengthen international climate financing and partnership. Nga bwe bakobye ekizibu kya climate change kiri global aye tutairewo mbeera ki tusobola okukola n'abantu ab'amawanga agandi. Amawanga agandi galekera okutuwa esente olw'obugubuzi obuswise aye tunalaga nti esente d'abantu tudadikozesa bulungi. Ndibakoba nti mu climate change abantu baidda kupatanalinga niife tusobola okubonekanga tukola ku bizibu ebiri kutuleeterwaku climate change. Ensonga ey'okubiri n'ensonga ey'okuadaptinga climate responsive budgeting framework. Eyo nekola etya kyembakobye nti twetaaga abakulembeze n'obukugu obujja okusoma embeera ng'ekaali kubaawo. Bwe tusoma embeera eyo ng'ekaali kubaawo twaba ni pulaani ekendeeza ku mbeera eyo etya bw'ejja okugwa ku bantu era twasobola n'okwinongola abantu sente daibwe we tuli kujja nga tebali kudigubulawo gubule. Ensonga ey'okusatu ni climate adaptation fund. Sente erijja okuyamba omuntu wa bulijjo okusobola okwenganga enembeera eya climate change oba amaadi gano agali kugwa amangi entoba zide bali floods eziri kuwamba n'endala eri kwidde olwa climate change era nga omwo tujja kubaamu n'esente erijja okuyambaku okwakisesinga amaadi. Imwe abalimi lwaki odaaga okulinda amaadi katonda gw'otayogera naye nti kukuwa amaadi ekyo ogalinde nga tigajja kwidda nga mulina president wamwe His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu ayite nti mulina enanda Victoria mulina enanda Kyoga mulina omwiga Nairo okusobola okuva amaadi abajja okukola ki okufikirira ebirime byaibwe n'ebintu bingi ayo olw'obwire kambirekawo aye mujje musome. Please go and read this manifesto. Buli bw'ogisoma oba n'amaanyi g'erina g'endikwogeza no kuzindaalo kuba obona Uganda empya climate smart enterprises nga bino tujja kusinziira mu bintu nga renewable energies. Obusibu climate change eno bwe buli kuvanga n'okuba nga tuli kukozesa bubi obutonde bwaife bane ebintu tugimazeewo byonna tuli kujja mu manda. Aye president waife yatufabye bw'anaafuuka president ati amasannyalaze gajja kuba ga 5 ojja kuba weetaaga ki okuba amanda gajja kuba gakuyamba ki ng'amasannyalaze ga 5 ojja kufumbiranga kuki ku masannyalaze. Aye ate waliwo n'ebintu twetanga solar energy akasana kano katwokyera bwereere nga tituli kukakozesa kukutoolamu maanyi gajja kutuyamba kufumba nakumulisa mayumba gaife. Lwaki tutula mu nzikiza ng'ebisana tuba n'akasana akanja oti ni kano. Ensonga eyindi mbale mu kidinze yekaramoja awazira amasannyalaze wali y'empewo tetusobola okufuula amasannyalaze kubala timukindi kuba gavumenti eno yabawuudisa yabalimba tibanabeokozesa ebimazeeyo abantu bekaramoja olimi tumutegera bulungi but I'm just saying the people of Karamoja, the President Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu and his government is going to turn the wind that disturbs you into electricity to light your houses and give you electricity to cook and do all other things. Ekisemberayo erala nga n'ensonga ey'okubonekanga tugema ku bintu ebidde okwiza obutonde bwaife okubuwa amaanyi sobola okubonekanga obutonde obwo ate bututaasa ebizibu bye tutasoboire kwetegekera. Bana kino ekintu mmaliriza nga mbakoba ekintu kirala bino ebintu tuli kusoma n'okuwandiika byonna byonna birungi aye tibidda kubaawo bwe kubanga kimutwegaiseeko okubika mu kalulu okwekalakaasa kutikinga manvuli buli weeri komanda asooka ni His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu era amasaba awotiika ebenge eri very clear Katonda abankumire era banterera.
I'm not going to add anything. Thank you so much. I told you I was saving the best also at the last. I am not the only one person who is going to present. However, after that person, we have an artist that I'm going to talk about now. And after that, we shall have Commander 001, the next president. The person going to implement all this. I can't wait. That said, allow me to welcome the last person, Miss Precious. She's going to talk about technology. You can't hear magazine. Allow me to introduce Precious, the last person, to talk about a tech-driven economy. Thank you.
People power, our power. I know you're a little bit tired, but bear with me. People power. NUP, everywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the energy we need to enter the new Uganda. Otherwise, we are stuck. So, I'm not a good speaker, and I have the challenge that I'm going to speak after someone with a lot of energy. So, I hope I can keep up. So, abantu banze bambadira mwasiga mutabasebo n'abanyago nanakirina bayita bolukuja mundu onyeka konka nkiremu katono bingi. People power, our power. So I'm a true Ugandan. You're going to wonder why my name is Nalinya kubali mutala Mumbejja nengenda kwogera olunyankole. Nze Nalinya Precious Julian n'ate ndi ngenda kwogera mu lunyankole ebintu ebisinga kubanga nze ndi Munnayuganda omutuufu. Kitegeeza ki nti mulekeraawo okutwawula yabula fe tuli bannayuganda nkimanyisa tuli abanyayuganda mwakitenga ekyo. So today niza kweningamba priority 11 eya technology. Nikimanya hatulina bana bingi abakozesa omutimbagano. Do you have TikTokers around? All of us. And I'm sure all of you are holding your phones. So this government understands that we are in the 21st century and understands that we are a young generation. So Ugandans cannot afford to be left behind in this technology era. Ekyo kimanyisa ki gavumenti ya Kyagulanyi tekuza kusiga muntu wena nyuma. Nekibamu tino kosa technology so ekile priority ya mani on technology. Priority 11 is transforming Uganda into a tech-driven economy through technology and innovation. Why is this priority important? According to the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, trade lowers costs, creates jobs, expands markets. Yet 30% of Africans actively participate in digital trade compared to 50% in Asia. Uganda's ICT only accounted for 0.5% of the total annual exports. Also, our internet costs about $2.6 per gigabyte, and it is the highest in the region. When you compare with other regions around us, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, our internet is the most expensive. What does this mean? It means we are not lacking potential. It means we are just limited by high internet costs, limited digital literacy, and weak policy frameworks for which, if we are to compete, real issues must be addressed. And the NUP government understood the assignment. 1. We are going to talk about digital infrastructure and connectivity. The NUP government will halve the cost of internet within 5 years by reducing data taxes, investing in regional internet, and will expand affordable broadband internet to every sub-region, prioritizing schools, healthcare, and trading centers so that no community is left behind. Ekimanyisa ki nupenyo nekira kutulaalonde president week tulateeka government erisya omubuyinza nkimanyisa lwakucendeereza omumyaka etaano wansi lwakucendeeza internet by half nkimanyisa wano ogula data yawalwa nogigula aha shingi 5 n'okutandika kugigula aha shingi 25 nikyo kikumanyisa. Education and skilling development. To build a digital country, we must build a digital citizen. Nkimanyisa ki wano oyenda kukozesa technology olina okukozesa abantu okubala gikozesa. NUP government yakugiramu nekukwata buli ssomero nebyewiikulya akwero kayumbarira nebakubateerayo computer labs. Tukikuza kwetagisa kuruga mbarira kuisha kwega kubibe amasomero unwegesa computer. No. NUP government is saying you are going to have good equipped computer laboratories in your regions. Let's talk about health. The NUP government will transform healthcare delivery. It will roll out a national e-health system that includes electronic recording, telemedicine services, digital drug tracking to improve efficiency and access. Health workers will be trained in digital diagnostics and patients management, while data analytics will be used for epidemic preparedness, disease surveillance, targeted interventions, and this will ensure that quality health care reaches every corner. Ekimanyisa ng'obwire wargo wanyu warga owanyu Shenyi wisha Kampala nupe yunetira mkosa kutandika kutambula na basa z'empapulezi no nekola system ngwisha n'obwire bwawe nobugamba amazina gawe notayo ID yawe nubamanya obwire obukushasha kandi kumwana kuyagira ngoni zigonyite So we are saying this data will help us to prepare and know just agriculture. Of course, we all understand that agriculture remains the backbone of Uganda's economy, and technology can make it smarter and more productive. It will create a national digital agriculture platform that provides farmers with real-time weather updates, market prices, and extension services. The previous speaker talked about the uncertainty of weather, that we can't tell when it's going to rain or when it's not going to rain. But the new government is saying, no, our dear farmers, with technology, we can tell you when it's going to rain, when it's going to shine, and we can actually tell you that you can take your things in a certain market. For you to plant. No, nibakuhereza service assume yawe kugambira ngomanya amateka awe nogatwara mukatarikana ekintu zakuzahari. So they are going to make our lives easy. Then governance and public service, digital transformation also must reach the government itself. We will digitalize key public services, including licenses, land titles, taxes, health records, improve efficiency and accountability. And of course, we will have an e-procurement system that will be introduced to curb corruption and save public funds. Muchimanya ababiba Uganda babira nnyo ku kino. N'ogenda okufuna ID ne bakusaba ssente empitirivu, n'ogenda okunoonya land title yo nga tomanyi weeri. So no government is saying, no, we're going to put these things very much available to you and near to you through technology. Ng'omuntu tateekeddwa kujjako nguzi okumanya details z'ekibanja kyo oba land title yo woweeri. Then we talk about economy and innovation to expand digital access. We will cut access on smartphones, computers, internet devices, and then of course there will be no promises to fund small startups in agribusiness. Of course, this is important for those who are worried that they are removing. I heard rumors on internet in Amsterdam, internet and Amore is there. For those who know me, there was a rumor saying NUP wants to scrap off what is this thing is talking these days. PDM, yes. And so don't get worried. The NUP is saying we are going to create a fund for agribusinesses, for the youth who have small businesses to start up, not to give money to some random person who eats the money and then random people are paraded as though they were funded. Last but not least, of course, as we talk about digitalization, it is important to talk about the national security and digital rights. The NUP government promises to expand digital opportunities. We will also make sure digital safety. NUP will strengthen cybersecurity capacities to combat fraud, hacking, online crimes, and of course teach enforcement and judiciary. Enforcement and the judiciary will be trained to handle cyber crimes cases effectively. We also run public campaigns and data protection, because we know recently there was a saga, an investigation that was conducted by BBC about human trafficking, and this criminal had access to our data, and everyone kept asking the same question: how did this criminal have access to our NIRA data? Because he gets all the information from NIRA. And of course, as usual, this question was never answered. But the NUP government is saying, we are going to protect your data, we are going to protect you from hackers, we are going to protect you from online harassment and anything in between. How will this be done? They intend how will this be done? Of course, they don't want to silence dissent, but they want to ensure space remains free and safe and productive. Because this is important, we know the young Ugandans are earning off the internet, but somehow the dictator, who is of course not the 21st century leader, is stuck in the 18th. I don't know if this is still thinks that it is okay to take off Facebook, which was feeding people are connecting, and of course we live in a global village, so this is very important that we connect. So in conclusion, a tech-driven Uganda is not just a dream, it is a deliberate and achievable voice. A Uganda where a farmer can check prices on their phone, a patient consults a doctor online, a student learns coding in their rural areas, and a person earns global income in their village. Under the new Uganda now, technology will not just be a tool, but it will be an engine, transformation, opportunity, prosperity, and together let us push Uganda into the digital future. People power, our power. Thank you so much for listening to me. Abantu bambara mumayeto kola abantu bantungamo Western people omurumo twine mwe bonka. For so many years nibajira kwito turije konka inactions tukubi. So tulijire twaja kutukubi president nito tuli nyuma yawe.
Thank you so much. Precious, I think that was elaborate. Maybe what you need to take home from what you have said is that the cost of the internet is going to be low, which means whoever created TikTok, whoever has said, Manifesto and Park in the internet, and I think what I want to add is that one of the controversial things that have come from that manifesto point is that we shall deliver medicine where you are. And often these things seem ambitious, but when we just cross to Rwanda, we have programs where drones can deliver medicine. You don't have to go through traffic to access that medicine. I think what we also say is that if we can expand internet connectivity, because once you step out of Kampala and go to neighboring districts, but we shall show up on our internet. But if we can do that, it means that we give you an opportunity to innovate and do all these other things. But also I think there's a lot of willingness that people want to invest in young tech ideas. If we can pacify this country, make internet easy, a lot of investment will come in. So we have come to the end of the presentation. On the priority areas, I'll ask each of us to clap for our able panel. If anyone tells you that they have not understood the NUP manifesto, either they are not paying attention today or they don't want to read. And like the lawyers already say, ignorance is not a replacement of absence of facts, so ignorance is not defense. So anyone who says that they don't believe that a new Uganda will fundamentally change this country will be lying. And we're not talking about fundamental failure. There are people who have used that word and it no longer makes sense. The only evidence we have is that people now think things can't change fundamentally. But we have guaranteed you today and we have showed you what is in it for you. So before we have an artist, I'll ask each of us to humble ourselves. We have colleagues who have been imprisoned. We know them now as political prisoners. One of them wrote a letter to us, and he said we need to pass on his communication. So I'll ask each of us to pay attention and listen to what he has to say. He's called Muyodi Hamidu. On 2nd October 2025, he wrote this letter, and this is what he said. Greetings all Ugandan masses, foot soldiers. I write this from Luzira Upper Prison. He says, we take this opportunity to send our message to all foot soldiers across the country. First of all, we thank our President, His Excellency Kyagulanyi Robert Bobi Wine, for always standing with us in all situations we go through, and we do thank all our leaders who visit us in prisons. We kindly thank those who help our families and who always attend our court trials. We really appreciate you for the courage that you give us. A message to all foot soldiers. We are in prison, but we have no hope that we can join you in person. We do move in we have our hope in you. We respect you, brothers and sisters. We are praying for you in this campaign struggle. We are updated in all campaign areas that we go through, and our flag bearers of national differ from across the country. We request you to please do what you whatever you can to bring justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity in Uganda. As we continue with this restarted, re-empowered, and recharged struggle for a new and a better Uganda, we join Mr. President, His Excellency Bobi Wine, by reminding you always remain focused, be sober, protect each other from a dictator, and let Ugandans be mindful of brothers and sisters who lost their lives in this struggle. Think of us who are in prison. Think of those who are still missing and are in exile. Because of this struggle, please don't give up to fight against the dictator and his government. We remind you that we are struggling for freedom, against dictatorship, against poverty, unemployment, injustice, corruption, and embezzlement. Hence, restoring a new Uganda. Let's avoid bribes, gifts, and obstruction from our enemies. Please, love each other and stop using your fellow comrades for individual gains to our enemies. Please be strong to fight the autocratic government. We are smelling change, but the change can only come from working hard. And we can't change the past, but we can change the future. So let's work hard in the campaign. We wish you a blessed journey in these campaigns. Remember that every word in this campaign means war. May Allah give you courage and strength to overthrow the autocratic government. May Allah give you the gift of knowledge and make the best decision for this country, Uganda. And he says, people power, people power, let's fight for a new Uganda. He shares this message to everyone, and please translate it in different languages countrywide. He says he thanks you, Muyo Hamidu, political prisoner from Muzira Upper Prison. Muyo speaks for all the people that have been in prison for just sticking to their conscience and failing to give in to this government which seeks to deprive them of our conscience, which is supposed to be a God-given right that we can exercise. Having said that, I'm going to welcome an artist who of us have known. His name is CY Narukala.
Only people that this is CY Narukala. I'm the massive. Come, sing it with it. Rastafari. Sing. Let's go. One. No matter what the tribulation, no give up. No matter what the situation. No matter what kind of tension. No matter what you get on the tension. No matter what the tribulation. No matter what the situation. No matter what kind of tension. No matter what you get on the tension. Every man starts from one. Just to make it up to be number one. Then start from zero. When they see them till zero, you cannot say that a man is going to make it up. They shall not tell me that me up in a shit up. Level. NUP. Everywhere. People power. Our power. People power. You know the sound between now and Dalababa. Mukama wange. Olukulembedde olutabaalo luno tetulina ssaawa ndala. Yeno yokka mukama wange, yeno yokka ssebo. Yo, kana kayimba kama abavubuka, bakayita muvubuka oli mubi. You see me? Aha. Rhythm, selector baby. Aha. So listen to me carefully. How do you? Muvubuka oli mubi, kakule kolala oli mubi. Abakusinga komasala yero bala bamubi. Kakatira kakulimba limba toli mubi. Toli mubi na toli mubi. Muvubuka oli mubi, kakule kolala oli mubi. Abakusinga komasala yero bala bamubi. Kakatira kakulimba limba toli mubi. You know bad but you bad mind. Looking at the ghetto, I must my back to let me say to Katiwaji. You cannot sing the name you are called out without each other. Without coming, Miss Letta must my back to Bakuwata. Kulawa, Sekai Muwakuki. What I'm not going to tell you, I was a want to. Kutulubunya, I want to tell you, Nagula, I want to. Chichikus, I want to, Bakari, Namus, and Gomantu. Chupela, Bakus, and Mela, Muruatu. Ukuli, Bubi, Kabule, Kola, Wadimupi. About Singapore, Sala, Yellow, Alabamu. Kakatila, Kakuli, Badim, Batoli, Movie. Bali, Movie, Nayoli, Movie. sitebyo bye bakola gwe babitawa butakomye emisajja mazima abantu bakukwata kulawa setaimu bakucawa batabulatabula abantu atelozalabazalaba abantu batulugunya abantu atelozagulula abantu kyakikusa abantu abatalina musango mwatu kibola bakusomera level NUP everywhere tetulina saawa ndala kyenyizo bagamba tetulina ki eno yeki eno yesaawa omusajja bugenda baaba
Maybe what I want to say is that in the National NUP platform, we are very spiritual as well. We believe in God, we believe in Allah, and He's the one who has brought us this far, and He's going to be with us in the new Uganda. Allah will come. I like her so much. Allah will come. Honorable Namboze to give us a scripture because we can listen to our president.
People power, our power, so president. Omusajja katabungiyewo ennaku ezo mukama wange naye nga bw'omanyi sitatafa okujjako nga firimu egenda kuggwa. Mukama wange president, tiimu gyendabye wano nebaziza Katonda. Ndabye abaana wano abateeka ensonga mu ddiiro ate ng'olaba bazitegeera. President nekusanyukirako nnyo n'eri bannayuganda nemanya nti tiimu eyokola omulimu weeri. Yesu Kristo naye bwe yajja mu nsi muno n'asuubiza ensi empya. Kati bwe yasuubiza ensi empya nabali ne bagyesunga. Olunaku lumu gamba lunakuliranye nti olunaku lumu Yesu yali atuddawo ng'ako babuulira ebigambo ebikulu ebirungi ebinaabeera mu nsi ki empya. Ate engeri Yesu ye gye yagenda awo osobola otunuulirawo Kyagulanyi nga bamaze okubatabbira ebigambo ebingi bwe bityo nga byonna bya nsi ki Bayibuli egamba bweti. Tusomye mu Matayo essula 24 okutandikira ku linnya olwokusatu. Yesu bwe yali ng'atudde ku lusozi lw'emiti emizayituuni, abayigirizwa ne bajja wali mu kyama ne bagamba nti tubuulire ebyo biribaawo ddi era kabonero kyakalaga okujja kw'ensi eyo. Yesu n'addamu nti mwerinde waleme kubaawo bababuzaabuza, kubanga bangi balijja nga bayita nga beeyita nti Yesu naye baliba bababuzaabuza. Muliwulira entalo wano nawali, mwerinde kweraliikirira. Ebyo biteekwa okubaawo naye ekiseera kiriba kitandika butandisi. Eggwanga erimu lirumba eggwanga eddala, n'obwakabaka bulirumba obwakabaka, n'okukankana kw'ensi mu bitundu bingi. Naye olwo okubonaabona kuliba kutandika butandisi. Mmwe bali bakwata ne bababaayo ne mubonyaabonyezebwa, era n'abamu ku mmwe mulittibwa. Abantu bonna balikyawa mmwe olw'okuba muli bagoberezi b'oyo. Olwo bangi ne baliterebuka, walibaawo n'ababalyamu enkwe era bali bakyawaganya. N'abalanzi ab'obulimba balirabika ne baba babuzaabuza olw'obujeemu obuyinga obungi. Okwagala kw'abamu kuliwola, naye oyo aligumira ebizibu okutuusa ku nkomerero yalirokolebwa. Era amawulire amalungi agafa ku Bwakabaka galitegeezebwa abantu mu nsi yonna okuba obujulirwa eri amawanga gonna olwo ensi eyo n'eryoka etuuka. Mukama yeebaze.
All your things have been said. Your prayer settlers and your wonna where we ekibuzo kiri nti tulirete wetegese. At this point in time, allow me welcome, and I may not get this opportunity when the government starts. But before we welcome the president, let us have another artist to set the stage for the ultimate president of this country. Thank you.
Hey, this morning. Hey, but you get what's me? Hey, you are going to say better. Never can be better. Some people don't want to have. People say that people are over. The devils are going to have. The total of the press can do that. I want to get to the body. Somebody to the body. You want to get to the body. People power. Our power. NUP. Everywhere. NUP. God abasinga nsubira kapuseoka abasinga mutenajja tulabagayono wakuza ekibuuzo muddamu Kyagulanyi abantu bakolemuko bakolemu omukulembeze waffe bange kakati fumozi jebale juzi president wa America yali ali kulale Kyagulanyi yabadde kulaliza Uganda era yaliko anti byaba America kakati America nze ndi mu America tuli wano mu Uganda. Yes.
Thank you so much. I want to tell you guys that where we have come from as a country is very bad. We have all suffered. We all have the Roberts that Sasi was talking about. We all have siblings who can't find jobs. We all have friends who have been arrested for the last 5 years for just speaking the truth. But the good news is this is all coming to an end under the new government, under the leadership of His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi. Allow me to take this opportunity therefore invite our able President, His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi, address us. Thank you.
People power. Our power. NUP. And everywhere. Even here. Thank you very much. Please take a seat. And please bear with us. I know that this function has taken a little longer. Njagala okwebaza Musumba Namboze ebikyawandikibwa kyakuwadde mulalenda abemukono musibe mukyano Zembeguya. Thank you very much for that word. I want to salute my fellow artists, Figo and your friend. I want to salute another revolutionary artist, Siwai Narukarala. Man, you're bad. Many times I feel glad to share the wine name with you. Very talented young man. You remind me of Buju Banton. You remind me of Bob Marley. You remind me of Sizzla Kalonji. You remind me of Capleton. All those artists that many of us grew up watching and aspiring to be like, believed in one common thing: equal rights and justice. They believed in freedom for all people, especially the black people, the African people. So, if you see a Rasta man posing around with dreadlocks but not believing in equal rights and justice, that is not Rasta, that is rascalat. So I salute you, my brother. We bali nakubulirira abavubuka. Kikulu nnyo abavubuka omuntu ababulirira ne bawulira yoyo omuvubuka ngabo yoyo ayise waje bayise. We bali bajjukiza nti okubeera omuntu omubi tekikufuula wakabi. Milako will put it straight that bad man and bad man is two different things. Can't mix and mingle the two of them. So thank you very much. I appreciate you. I also want to appreciate the drama team from the School of Leadership for the skit that you presented here. Thank you very much. In this our struggle, music, dance, and drama will always carry a center stage. It has been music, dance, and drama, creativity, and poetry. It's been art that has liberated people right from the days of slavery, through colonialism, through dictatorship. And it's what's going to carry us through. So we salute that area. We salute you, Comrade Nobiandi, Selector Devi, Namwe Nabakwataganya, Elie, Mwebali Dara. I also want to sympathize with Dr. Nalukwago. Dr. Nalukwago, we listen to you. Dr. Nalukwago, bada tumulira nti ennumba zamulumira mu ddwaliro eryo mu kyalo ng'agenze mu toileti. Walaba nnyo munnaye nzimanya ennumba zezaali zinumyeko zizannumira nno ku muti gwa muyembe zannuma kuliiso ne mala wiiki namba nga linnuma naye kati gwe nkubamu akafaananyi oba zaakulumyewa. Naye tukusabira munnange badde zaakulumye before oba after. Maybe to I want to salute the comrades that have presented today. Comrade Awel, the young man, the intelligent young man that you are, and the way you present it gives me hope, gives me confidence that the young people of this generation are actually seeing
through the curtain that has been put before our eyes. They're seeing the future. They're seeing the promised land. They're seeing the new Uganda. I want to appreciate the policy team that has been able to clearly paint a picture for us. Very eloquent young men and women. Very passionate young men and women. Very imaginative young men and women. At least we are able to see the Uganda we want, the Uganda we're aspiring for, and indeed the Uganda that we must achieve. I have no doubt that the picture of that new country is now clearer. We see where we want to go. We are not just what Mao loves to call agenda. Yes, we are agenda. Why no agenda? He's the roadblock between us and our future. But we've said it before, and I want to reassert it again, that we are not only fighting to liberate ourselves, we are fighting to carry ourselves beyond liberation. We are fighting to be able to paint our own destiny. And I'm very glad that for these 2 or 3 hours, these young people have been they've been able to clearly paint a picture. Ladies and gentlemen, these are not my ideas as an individual. No, these are ideas of numerous young men and women. These are ideas of the young generation, young Ugandans from across Uganda. Look at them. From the north to the west, to the east, to the south and central. This is Uganda summarized. These ideas and ideas, they represent all of us. They represent both our pain and our aspiration. They represent the aspirations of a new generation. These thoughts and presentations, ladies and gentlemen, they represent a generation that refuses to be defined by the fear and the hate and the hopelessness that has been imposed on us. Fear has been imposed on us. We fear each other. Hate has been imposed on us. We've been taught to hate each other. We've been conditioned to feel helplessness, to feel helpless, to believe that we can't go past here. Thank you very much, my brothers and sisters, for making it clear that we have a future that is tangible, a future that we see, a future that we are going to achieve. And I also want to add my voice on yours. We are indeed going to build a new country for ourselves and our children. We are going to build that country for ourselves, by ourselves. I might be the one leading, and I've told you this before, that I don't present myself to lead this struggle, this charge for a new Uganda, because I'm the most educated or most qualified. I present myself because it is a calling, just like every one of you. But nothing gives me confidence to see that behind me there's quality. Behind me, there are young men and women. Each one of them is very qualified, very knowledgeable, well-traveled, passionate about a new Uganda. We have young doctors here, we have young lawyers here, we have journalists, we have people from all walks of life. And yes, we have people like myself and Nubiani who are artists. We have people like Eddie Mutwe. We have people like Zambali. Zambali of Mukono. So it is possible, ladies and gentlemen. I have no doubt that it's possible. But I was moved even deeper by the presentation of Maria Ledochowska Natalie, who put it clearly that these are just dreams. Brothers and sisters, these are but just dreams. This is but just an imagination, a dream that we can either achieve but also can fail to achieve. This is a dream that we can get, but this is a dream that we can also fail to achieve and keep dreaming about it if we don't take the necessary steps. Over a few years ago, I've learned that in life you don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate for. In fact, you get what you fight for, not what you deserve. But brothers and sisters, again I want to tell you that what we deserve, what you deserve, is worth fighting for. Yes, it does. What do we have to do then? Let's do the necessary. Step number 1, start by magnifying this, by amplifying this. I like that this has been presented precisely but clearly. It's right here. This is what we want to bring to Uganda. When we say Museveni agende kubale nezaawo bino. What you have to do as a citizen, number 1, is to help further paint this picture to all and sundry. Anybody that you get close to, let them understand that we are past the mobilization area. We are in the sensitization and making sure that everybody gets us clearly. Understand what we are fighting for. Understand what we are risking for. Explain it to your friends, to your family, to your boyfriend or girlfriend or wife or husband. Explain it to your friends. Explain it whenever you have an opportunity. To you, our leaders, especially those that are running to office. And I like that the skit made it very clear. Don't promise people rice, because we are not going to give rice in the new Uganda. Promise what we are going to give as a government. In the new government, you're going to be serving under the National Unity Platform. And this that I'm promising, you are going to be responsible to deliver to your constituents. This is going to be government policy, and all leaders are going to be charged to deliver this. So explain it to people so that people know exactly what to demand from you when we are in power. Make it clear. Make our manifesto your talking points when you go to speak. Don't promise people warranty. Let's be different from those that we are fighting against. And further, we request you to simplify it even more in your languages. Make it understandable. Simplify it further. Those of you that are on social media, please help us share these on your social media handles. We've been saying that phone is a very powerful tool. Please lend it to Uganda. Lend your TikTok account to Uganda, your Facebook account, your Twitter account, all platforms that you can. Show people what Uganda can achieve. Even if you don't support the NUP or the NUP candidate, at least let every young Ugandan understand what Uganda can turn into. And then we can decide who takes us there. I've already shown you that me, I have the law to take you there. But at least let us first understand where we want to go as a country. Let's understand the kind of country that we want. And then we will find the courage to take the first, second, and more steps towards that Uganda that we want to get to. So, help us. Push it. I know you have different talents. Those that can animate it, break it down, simplify it. Let even a young child of 5-6 years understand the kind of country that we want, because we are not going to stop. I told you a few weeks ago that we are not going to wait to celebrate when we get there. We shall celebrate along the way. Even knowledge of what we want to achieve is victory enough. Let us celebrate it and then keep moving towards it. So break it down for those people, make it understandable. Then another thing I want to tell you, brothers and sisters, organize, organize, organize. Send this message down to the common people. Build teams, Zetwaite God. Build teams, let them go door to door, not just asking for a vote, but painting a picture of what people are voting for. I want people to know what they are voting for. So organize. Go to your constituencies. You, the leaders, I really love your company on the campaign trail. But I request you to spend more time in your constituencies. Go there, don't wait for me to come to your constituency with you. While we turn the nation upside down, turn your constituency upside down, and organize. Identify polling agents. Identify people who will help us at every step of this democratic revolution. Muzimbe gali zinywere. Also, while at it, please identify alternative means of communication. We all know the Museveni kind of election, and I'm sure he thinks that he is bringing his usual nonsense in this election. So, think ahead. We all know what these people are planning. Think ahead. You know they're going to switch off the network. You know they're going to switch off the internet. Plan ahead. Find alternative ways of communication so that we are in touch as a nation. We are entering a very critical phase of this revolution. So I charge you to go and find different ways. Sit down, burn the midnight candle. Form discussion groups. You never know. Maybe your small group might be the one that will develop the idea that will liberate us. So work together, build together, and let us do it, because I know we are going to do it. This, ladies and gentlemen, many people hear us. When the struggle is over, we shall wear the victor's crown. We are going into a risky time, but we can choose to see it from two different perspectives. From one side, you can look at it as a risk. You can choose to look at it as an opportunity. So, let's make the brave choices. Like I said, they hear us singing, when the struggle is over, we shall wear the victor's crown. What is that victor's crown? That is the one. What they just explained here. The first 11 and more will come when the struggle is over, when we defeat General Museveni and his corrupt regime. So, ladies and gentlemen, in that new Uganda, make it clear to the people what they are voting for. They are not voting for Kyagulanyi, the individual. They are voting Kyagulanyi, who represents that. They are not voting for NUP, the political party. They are voting for NUP, which represents that. That is exactly what they are voting for. Anybody that is taking the umbrella, that is what you are voting for. Anybody that is risking, that is what you're risking. Anybody that is fighting, that is exactly what you're fighting for. You're not fighting for money to be put in your pocket. You're fighting for a better country. Gladly, in that country, we look at you as leaders. So when you're going to prison, our brothers that are in prison, and many of us that might go to prison, that is what we are going to prison for. For those that will be tortured, even those that will be killed, that is what we are dying for. And I have good news, my brothers and sisters. Whether you are fighting, that is worth fighting for. Whether you're going to prison, it is worth going to prison for. Even dying, this is worth dying for. Because we are doing this for our children and our children's children. We are doing it because the alternative is slavery. And me as an individual, and I believe all of you, or most of you, would rather die than be slaves on the land of your forefathers and foremothers. I can guarantee you that at the end of this, your children will be in charge of their country. They will be able to paint their own destiny. these young men and women, and all those among you. This is a young Uganda. It's a new Uganda, a young Uganda, a brilliant Uganda, a progressive Uganda, a successful Uganda. A Uganda that is not a laughing stock among nations. That is a Uganda that we are going to get, ladies and gentlemen. I want to appreciate those that are already involved, especially those that we are moving with on the campaign trail, and those that are moving, those that are working on social media, those in the diaspora that save their working hours to work for Uganda, to send a message for Uganda. You're doing a tremendous job. We really, really appreciate you. I want to appreciate our comrades, especially the foot soldiers, for the discipline. Please clap for yourselves. The discipline that you're exercising on your own selves, and the discipline that you're exercising on the road. Many times I look behind and I feel so proud of the team that we're working for. So disciplined on the road, so kind to the people that come to us, so protective of those that come to support us, the vulnerable people, the women and children. Thank you very, very much. Once more, I want to again request you to look out for our people. Like I said, on this trail you won't be protecting me, but each other and those that come to support us. Please continue protecting them. We have not seen many cases of thugs stealing funds from our supporters. I've told you this before, that the regime had an effort of planting thugs among us so they can spoil our name. It is our duty to protect our people, and we shall do a good job protecting our people. I warned the criminals, demokola era, nemoloza ntimoja mufe, kubabantu bafe, kubababo imoja kutia. So with those, I want to conclude by appreciating those that have been funding us and those that have been funding our comrades, our foot soldiers. Thank you very much. Thank you for keeping us going. But I must also remind you, and this Honorable Barimwezo whispered to me, yes, we need more support, ladies and gentlemen. We don't need to remind you of what the regime is doing to stifle us, to impoverish us, to cut our speed. We are moving regardless, but we request you not to stop supporting us. I want to confirm to you, ladies and gentlemen, that we are not going to give up. And you cannot defeat people that don't give up, especially when they are younger than you. We are younger than the Museveni regime. We are older than them. We are more determined, and we shall not give up. I can guarantee you that in the end, everything will be all right. And if everything is not all right, then it will not be the end. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Ngere musana jegwa Kenya ne gosiriza mu Uganda. Abe mukono bangambe mbize ko mu Uganda. Basebo ne banyabo tusimanyo timu yaffe ya police abami n'abakyala ab'emyaka emito naye nga bagezi nnyo ate nga bagalanye ensi yaabwe. Tubeebaza nnyo olw'okutusigira ekifaananyi ekya Uganda empya. Nkakasa kati bantu batono nnyo kabe kasinge nga tebalinawo abatategeera kirooto kya Uganda empya. Kati ffenna tumanyi kye tuyayaanira, tumanyi exactly kye twagala okuteekawo. Tuli basanyufu nnyo ti abantu abatutotoledde abatemeetemye mu bisuubizo byaffe bya Uganda empya bava mu bitundu bya Uganda byonna. Eno kyekino ekifaananyi ekya Uganda, abava mambuka, abava ebuvanjuba ne bugwanjuba, abava mu masekati ne maserengeta, bonna bakiikirira ebirooto n'ebyayaanirwa eby'omugigi omuto ebya Uganda empya, Uganda ejjudde amasanyu, Uganda gye tukakasa nti tulina okufuna mu bulamu bwaffe, Uganda gye tukakasa nti tulina okusala amagezi gonna tugifune omwaka ogujja mu kutema mu bigambo bitonotono mu myezi 3. Tubeebaza olw'ekifaananyi kye mutusiigidde, kubanga kyongedde okulaga Ddala yeffe bali bye bayogerako oba mwawulira Hussein Kyanjobe yayogerangako generation ejo yeffe kasire gwanga bwe yabagamba nga yeffe ne mu byawandiikibwa bonamboze byasomye yeffe twagaana okutuumibwa oba okukuumibwa mu busibe oba obukyayi oba okutya n'oba obutaba na ssuubi. Ffe twasalawo ebiseera byaffe eby'omu maaso tubiteeke mu ngalo zaffe ku lwaffe olw'abazadde baffe naye okusingira ddala ku lw'abaana baffe era nga tubakakasa tyeseri tugenda gizimba baganda bange. Bino byonna bye mulabye ebimu bibadde mu luzungu ebirala mu Luganda naye bijja kutuukawo. Neera nga mwannyinaffe nattabire edo kyosika okuva e Busoga e Butembe bwatugambye nti bino byonna bikyali birooto, bino byonna bikyali biteeberezo, bino byonna ssuubi, bino birooto. Naye era njagala mmanye nti bino birooto bye tusobola era bye tukolerera okutuukako mu bbanga eritali lyawala. Naye nga bamukube engalo zammwe njagala mumanye nti era bino bye birooto bye tusobola okulemwa okutuukako. Tusobolera ddala okulemwa okubituukako singa tetukola kituufu. Ekituufu kye kiruwa? Ekituufu basebo ne bannyabo kwe kumanya nti mbulamu tofuna ekyo ky'osaanidde kufuna, nedda singa ekyo ky'olwaniridde. Yes, tewali mirimu gye bagenda kuleetera waka ku soosiyo. Bw'oba toli mu matiba osaana okangule ku voisiyo, sigala ku koosiyo era manya rights. Tolema kolerera Uganda gwezimba kwangalyo wadde nga boosiwo eyali wa choice gwe baana kwangalyo bino kwangalyo. Bannange ekirooto kino tusobolera ddala okulema okukifuna singa tetukoze ekituufu. Eky'omukisa omulungi ekituufu tukimanyi baganda bange, era ekituufu nsaba tutandike okikola mbagirawo. Okusookera ddala mbasaba mwenna bannayuganda, si bakulembeze bokka naye buli munnayuganda olifuule katalaali okufuula mulimu gwo okutemaatema manifesto eyo, okutemaatema ebigendererwa bya NUP, obinnyonnyole buli muntu gw'osobola okutuukako. Tandikira ku bazadde bo, odde ku mwagalwawo, odde ku baana bo oba mikwano gyo, ab'ekinywi kyo b'okola nabo oba bonna b'otuukako. Osobola okukikola mu buntu, osobola n'okozesa social media yo. Mutuyambe mu kimaking clear abantu balabe kye balwanirira. Bw'oba omanyi ky'olwanirira kizibu okussa omukono, bw'oba olengera gy'olaga bannange kizibu okupondoka n'ogwamu amaanyi. Abantu mubalage gye tulaga bamanye nti tetuli kino Mao kyayagala okuyita nti abo bagamba just Museveni must go. Yes, Museveni must go, but after Museveni goes, our job will just have begun. Museveni bw'anaagenda omulimu gwaffe gujja kuba gwakatandika. Awo tutereeze Uganda empya. So tubasaba mukinnyonnyola abantu nammwe abali ku social media tuzenga tubasaba era twongera okubasaba baganda bange buli ayagala ensi ye waakiri waayo vidiyo emu oba post emu oba eddakiika 10 buli lunaku kuba eggwanga lyo mwabali mu Uganda n'abali ebweru wa Uganda. Tugezaako okuzimba ya Uganda empeya buli omu era buli omu alina omulimu. Olina abantu abakuwuliriza bayinza okuba 2, 3, 4, 5, 1,000, 1,000 bawe obubaka buno. Tuyambe okimenyemenye mu ngeri yo, mu lulimi lwo, mu sitayiro yo, mu ngeri yo yonna omekinga ekiwa nti abantu bakutegeera. Njagala okusinzira wano tulina omu ku baganda baffe omuyimbi Nakinku Honorable Walukagga. Njagala okusaba ssebo taliwo wano naye nkakasa gyali ampulira. Njagala okusaba ssebo manyi toyiya ne bayiya tetwafirwa ababasudde andisi gwe twakusigaza. Nkusaba okoleyo n'akayimba akakodongo kamootemeeteme Uganda ebyanga bigenda okuba. Kulaba buli mwaka ng'otematema omwaka. tematema Uganda empya n'abantu b'ewaffe nabo bamanye abantu bangi nnyo tebalaba bino, abantu bangi nnyo tebawulira luzungu, abantu bangi nnyo ne betwogera bibabowa, naye bwe mubitematema mwe ba comedians mwe ba artists mutemeteme Uganda empya abantu balabe kyebalwanirira, abantu balekerawo okugamba balwanirira Kyagulanyi oba balwanira NUP, bamanye kyebalwanirira. Ne bwaba tawagira NUP oba Kyagulanyi naye amanye nti alina kyalwanirira, asobole okugeraageranya wa waali na wa waalaga, awo asalewo ayagala kusigala wano oba ayagala genda wali. Tukimenyemenye abantu batutegeere bulungi nnyo, abakulembeze naddala mu abeesimbyewo temukyasobola kugamba nti temumanyi byagamba abantu, temusubiza abantu katogo, temukulira abantu mwenge, temusubiza kuwa abantu sente. Abantu mwabapoloote nga mulina n'obujulizi, mubalage kitwagala okubawa. Kyekino kyakabi okusinga bucolo bwe babasaba, ate nkakasa bajja kubategeera. Awulidde bulungi. So mumenyemenye manifesto yaffe, buli wa NUP oba oli MP oba oli meya, eno ye manifesto y'okotandikira, ebirala ebiri detaili oyongereza okwo. Naye abantu mubalage nti tugenda kola nga government, tegenda kubeera ngene ya Museveni ekunkumuka, tugenda kolera wamu. This is going to be government policy. Eno egenda okuba enkola ya gavumenti betugenda okuluubirira, era buli mukulembeze ku levo yonna yonna enjiri gyetukusaba ogende owe abantu. Era njagala kusinzira wano n'okubasaba abakulembeze bannange, nsanyuka nnyo nga tutambula ku campaign trail, era temulekera okumperekera. Naye njagala obudde obusinga mubumale mu constituency zammwe, musisinkana abantu, mubasaba akalulu, ne temubasaba busabi kalulu, mubalage gye tugenda mmwe wano. Temuli ba candidate kubanga bino si bya bulijjo, mwe muli bakomanda. Mwe muli bakomanda balutabaalo, muli baduumizi. Ate mmwe abakulu abatuuze abali eyo, temulowooza nti olwokuba aliwo komanda ali politiko timwe temuli komanda, nammwe twabo bawa muli bakomanda. Kati njagala bakwate nga tebalina gwe bakwata, nga tebalina gwe bakwata, bakwata onoona bayita mu nkwawa. Ekyo bwe kiba kirina okubeera. Njagala obasaba abakulembeze bwe mugeze mu constituency zammwe muteekateeke, muteeketeeke. Tiimu zammwe zibakubira campaign muzinnyonnyole. Nabadde eyo ku drive nendaba omwana ndowooza Honorable Hassan Kirumira yamuleese. Ali ludda oyo mwana. Omwana oyo mumpeereyo omutwalo ojja kummanja. Nawulidde omwana ng'agenda annyonnyola ebintu. For a minute webale nnyo ssebo webalire ddala. For a minute nga simanyi nzaayogera naye ate ndi mu mmotoka. So abaana bano abato bali amangi wetulirewo naye bwojja mulaba olayika tulinamu na mutwalo. So eyo yeba enjiri gye tubuulira ku zi drive zaffe, ku mikolo gye mugenda, buli wamu abantu tubalage ekifaananyi kye twagala ng'eggwanga. Understanding muzimbe eggaali ezo ze ziba zikola campaign, zigende door to door, mugende door to door, obudde bukyaliwo, mutuukirire buli muntu. Nfuba okulaba nga ntuuka kuli bantu kuba njagala tugende okulonda nga njogedde ne miliyoni ezitaka wansi wa 20 ez'abantu. Nawe njagala making sure wakiri 80% ku balonzi abeewammwe oyogedde nabo. So mugende mukonekitinge n'abantu bamanye ti bino bya ddala si byo ebyokulondalonda mubiri nga Museveni byabadde ng'amanyi. Era mukozese n'ekino ekiseera okwa-identifying aba polling agents abagenda okukuuma akalulu kaffe, tuleme kutuuka ku kiro ekiseera nga temubategeera. Kati mubeekennenye, gw'olabamu ng'alimu ebitege teekawo omulala obudde bukyaliwo. Mweteeketeeke wano we tugenda we wali wennyini we bayogerako. Njagala n'okubasaba mufune engeri ez'enjawulo ez'okuwuliziganyamu. mukimanyi bulungi nnyo okulonda nga Museveni yakulembera eggwanga. Saagala tutandike kwekangamu intaneti bagijeko obadde tomanyi nti bagenda gijjako. Network bazijeko obadde tomanyi nti bagenda giteekako bagijjako. Kati mutandike kati agenda okusalako intaneti nga tumugamba twakulinda doluddewo nogijjako. Mufune engeri ez'enjawulo ez'okukwataganamu. Mwetegekere kano akalulu. Tuyingira mu phase gye bayita yakanayo kyani mu kano akalulu. Yes, igenda kubayiraliikiriza. Kubano we batandikira okusiba abantu. Waifu ali mukomera, Edi Muntu ali mukomera, Akirewa ali mukomera, Gaddafi ali mukomera, Bobi Wine ali mukomera, Smart ali mukomera, n'abalala. Kubanga bo ye blueprint yaabwe kati mukwateko abamwetolodde. Simanyani gwe baddako okusiba. Droni zeetala. Kana kaseera katiisa. Ne tulina choice, tulina ekyokusalawo. Kana kaseera tukatunulire nga tuyimiridde ku ludda ki? Olw'okutya oba olw'essuubi. Kuba bw'oyimirira ku ludda olw'okutya olaba buzibu bokka na bulabe bokka. Ne bw'osalawo okukana akaseera okalabira ku ludda olw'essuubi olaba mukisa, olaba opportunity, olaba we tumukubira engwalo, olaba we tumutendulira. So nze mbasaba tutunulire opportunity, tutunulire omukisa gwe tulina. Eky'omukisa omulungi tumanyi kikye tulwanirira. Bwe tuyimba bulijjo nti olutalo nga luwedde tuliyambala engule gye twogerako si yakwambala ku mutwe kugenda ng'emasamasa. Engule gye twogerako yeeno ye Uganda empya gye tugenda okuzimba. Engule eyo bweba obuyinza n'omukisa gwe tugenda okubanga tufunye, omukisa gwe tusaba Bannayuganda yonna gye twetoloola gwenkakasa nti bagenda gutuwa. Omukisa ogwo bwe bagutuwa tubalage Uganda empya bwefaanana. Abantu bamanye nti bagenda okulonda tagenze kulonda James Mubiru nedda. Tagenze kulonda Nubianli nedda. Tagenze kulonda Mwanga Kivumbi oba Malende nedda. Agenze kulonda Uganda empya. Amanye nti ne bwaba nga bamukuba gasi ku lwekyo ajja kuguma. Ne baba bamusiba mukomera ku lwekyo kyakkiririzaamu ajja kuguma. Ne baba batutemula nga tugamba kino it is something worth fighting for, worth risking for and worth dying for. Era mbakakasa kino ekintu nze ntalayo buli kimu. Era namwe mbasaba mutale afya kubanga tujja tuukayo. Kamalirize baganda bange nga mbeebaza. Mubadde mulaba ti wiiki 2 eziyise tetufunyeeko kabenje n'akamu okugjako emmotoka ya poliisi, emmotoka za poliisi 2 ezajja ne zitomera abantu nga tugenda e Busunju. Tetufunye kabenje konna kubanga mbadde muvuga bulungi nnyo. Mubadde mukuuma layini yammwe wadde emmotoka nyingi piki nyingi naye mukuuma layini yammwe. Mbasaba mukuume empisa ezo. N'abatulugunya baswala bishuwa tebatwagala banjagadde otutulugunya naye banoonya ensonga ekyababuze temubawa nsonga. Kamera tesigale nga batunuddemu bo banyige bunyizi bagambe kawadde tewali ensonga piga huyo kale. Neffe we need to be clear. We need to be safeguarded before the eyes of the people, before the law and before God. So mbebaza nnyo olw'empisa, mbebaza nnyo olw'obuntu bulamu, mbebaza nnyo olw'okubeera n'ekisa naddala security team yaffe, abaana baffe abatambulira ku boda, mwenna ba food soldiers, mwebale nnyo, mwebalire ddala. Nja kwebaza abo abakuumya abantu nakibagambako nti omuntu gw'olaba ku kkubo oyo muwala akyamuse n'afiriminga ebyo ebintu n'abiteeka ku akawunti ye atupushingira nnyo struggle yaffe. Eyo essimu eringa emmundu mweno fight tuli mu lutalo lwakuba olutalo lwaffe luli non-violent. Era eyo essimu gy'olaba mweno digital era eyo essimu eringa mmundu. Nabagamba mufube nnyo okukuumagana naye okusingira ddala okuuma abantu abajja okutuwagira. Gavumenti ya Museveni ng'ekozesa Christopher Damulira bagenda mu ghetto tebanoonyayo bali talented nga si Wine Lukalala oyo ghetto youth nga nze wano ne tebaagala yaabo baagala babbi Bagala baziba misango bajje batuzeeko emisango. Nabagamba temubakkiriza temubawa chance kutulugunya abantu baffe. Njagala baziye basanga ate ffe nga tuli era twabawoninga dda nti omuntu yenna alina ajja okubba essimu ku mulwanyi waffe. Ffe buli muntu yenna kutula bakozesa essimu okupushinga struggle yaffe oyo mulwanyi, era essimu tugirabanga emmundu. Era baganda bange omuntu yenna alina abbako omuntu essimu nga tuli mu struggle ne mumulaba mumuyise nga bbye emmundu. Mukifuule kya bulabe nnyo omuntu okujja okuza emisango muffe, okujja okubba muffe. Struggle yaffe teriimu babbi. Number one duty ey'abantu bonna ba freedom fighters kubeera disciplined. Kati omuntu ajja natukolamu indiscipline mumulage nti si munnaffe, bwe mumala mumukwase poliisi. Bwe mukola ki? Nga nva waggulu njagala okwebaza bonna abatusapootinze. Yes, mumekinga sure obubbi tebutuyingiramu butono si bungi. Tebukkiriza babbi tuyingiramu. Era nammwe ababbi abali eyo mbalabula nti bino tulwanirira mmwe ate bino bya ddala. Tulwanyisa omulabe waffe n'abo abeefula abamu ku ffe bakozesa. So temukola ki? Njagala okwebaza abatuwagidde, abatuvujjiridde, mwebale eddala. Bali mwezi yankubye akama tetukyetagayo ku ssente. Mulaba batuyise ewala ewantu wetwandibogedde eddakiika 2 ne tuvugirawo essaawa 2 essaawa 3. Fenno tetukaana nabo kuba neyo waliyo abantu ate basinga okunyigirizibwa. So naye tuyitayo. Kitegeeza nti amafuta tukozesa mangi. Twogera nnyo, nze njogera ebigambo bannange kitegeeza ndya n'emmere nnyingi. So baganda bange ekyamazima tukyetagayo ku buyambi. Temulekerawo okutuyambako, mugende maaso nga mutuwagira, tulwane luno olutalo tumaleko. Twabagamba era tuddamu bagamba nti tetulina kyetufiirwa okugjako enjegere zituli ku mikono ne ku bigere. Tugendagenda mu maaso nga tulwana tuwangule. Bakakasa nti tugenda kuwangula. Bino gye binaggweera buli kimu kijja kuba kiteredde. Era bwe mulaba nga buli kimu tekinaterera nga mumanya tebinaggwa. Mwebale nnyo, mwebale eddala mu ngeri enjawulo. Kanneebaze era recognizing Father Kizito avudde mukono. Mwebale nnyo, weebalire eddala. Neanza sebo zinona kubili namba. People power, our power. People power, our power. People power. Everywhere. NUP. Bobi Wine.
Yes, we're not adding to the evidence media, Mr. President. I think the